counted. Offensive rebound by Smith, and she's got a new.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Purdy escapes, throws downfield, and intercepted. Kaylin Barnes comes up with it.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
ACOT. Again, the shot clock winding down. Weaving. Off glass. He does it again.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Here's Elliott. He will get it. Touchdown Dallas as Elliott fought for it and has his 6th of the year.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, good afternoon on this Wednesday afternoon at SicEm365 Radio, our studio in the corner of MLK and also Elm Avenue. We have a special guest in studio today. Baylor women's basketball coach Nicki Collen will join us momentarily, but a couple of things to get to real quickly. James Akinjo from Arizona, the transfer, has been cleared his waiver to play immediately for Baylor. He will join us today at 3:45. Craig just showed me a note. David K. released this, that Todd Harbour's retiring as Baylor's track and field coach. Of course, he's had incredible success in that program with the great legendary Clyde Hart and company. So that is also happening today. Also, Zach Pyron, the quarterback commit from Alabama, Pinson Valley, is at the Elite 11 quarterback competition in California starting today. And, Terry Gerik is the new coach at Connally High School. We have their games on SicEm365 Radio. He will join us at 4:30. He's the new head coach at Connally, promoted, replacing Shane Anderson, who, of course, is now the head coach at Midway High School. Let's go straight to our special guests, Paul Catalina, David Smoak, and Craig Smoak in studio with so many others. Thanks to Kyle Robarts today as well. But Nicki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, joins us in studio on SicEm365 Radio. I want to start with this. How is your elasticity?
My elasticity? In regards to what?
I heard you went to go check your elasticity, and it was a bad day.
Ouch. All right, I'm slightly competitive, and I'm also like a technology, sports performance kind of geek. I think it's the engineering background. So they'd gotten the new force plates, and I thought, well, why don't I just try them out down here when I'm with Jeremy? So yes, I was highly disappointed in how high I jumped, but I've got a lot of room for growth because I remember being a much better leaper than. But you can't use your arms, and so it really does kind of teach you a little bit about how you jump, what kind of athleticism you have, and really the goal of it is to prevent injury, to help players understand, how to help them get better, understand fatigue, a lot of things. So yes, my elasticity. I've never been someone that's had a lot of hamstring flexibility. So there's definitely work to do.
And the competitive part of you will make sure that gets even better. And
I mean, I went up to the office and literally everyone was like, "Why are you depressed?" So I had to tell the story.
Depressed.
Yeah.
Nicki, you've now been the head coach for quite some time. I know you guys are working out as well. You've had a chance. How important was that option, knowing that you had taken over a brand new program and obviously a program with incredible standards, that you've had a chance to do the workouts this summer?
Yeah, I think it's been really, really important. I'm a firm believer in sweat equity. So being able to be out on the court with them, be able to demonstrate, be able to, be their hype person if that's what they need. Certainly when we started, it was just Tari and I, then we added Tony. So allowing Tony and Tari to take some more of a lead in the post and guard workouts now that I've kind of laid the groundwork and expectations. But it's been great to see them work. I know they've been working extremely hard. This is week 4 for us. in terms of being in the weight room and being on the court. And this is the first time they've ever done summer basketball workouts. So, it's a new challenge for them as well, but something that they've really embraced.
How much of it, the workouts for you aren't really even about the workouts. It's just about you need to know them, well before you get into the season.
It's a little bit of everything. It's first of all, it's understanding what their skill set is. You can judge that based on a game, but it's different when you get them on the court and you're working individually. And it's also what I've seen in the past is defined by what they were allowed to do, in someone else's system. So really understanding strengths and weaknesses, understanding how hard they compete, seeing frustration and being able to say, hey, it's June, you're going to be frustrated. This is different. We're going to put you in a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of two-man. You're going to have to learn these reads. And so you're not going to get it right every time, but it's June, like in November, it'll be a little different. And so it's really getting a jump start in terminology and a lot of things at how we talk about what we do, what our expectations are in terms of how they work and how they compete with one another and for one another.
Saw the video when you first arrived on campus and your family and you were touring the facilities. What was that experience like? What were your thoughts seeing, what you had at your disposal as far as the arena, the locker rooms, all of that?
Gratitude. Certainly going back, I've coached at every level. I think even with the Atlanta Dream, ironically, we took the job. We wanted to move practice facilities. My GM and I think, toured about 19 different places before we found what we thought was the best version. We're talking from Y's to church facilities to all kinds of things. So I know what a good facility can feel like. Going back to Arkansas, we were in design stages of their practice gym, even picking carpet out before, that kind of time ended. So it's nice to have those things at our disposal. Certainly, to me, the resources are great. It's still more about the people. It's about having the right people. So, then you can take advantage of those resources. If you don't have the right people, you're never going to take advantage of all the things that you have to offer, whether it's in the training room or the weight room or in the gym. So, that's been as important to me as anything, so that we do a good job utilizing the facilities.
With the offense you've discussed and what you want, and with the players you have, how much more versatile will they be or allowed to be in your offense?
Well, that's what they need to be. Ultimately, I think the guards are happy because they're going to be allowed to shoot threes, Certainly, and Baylor was a team that shot a good percentage from three. It wasn't that they couldn't. It's just they didn't shoot a high volume of threes. So we do need to open that up. I do believe in the analytic game. Not that we won't take mid-range jump shots, not that it's all about free throws, layups, and threes, but certainly there's a reason why we've gotten to those analytics. And a lot of numbers can be understood that a lot of the best teams are successful in those areas. So I think it's getting Nalissa and Queen comfortable on the perimeter with the ball, getting them passing and screening, getting them in the pinch post area and being able to reverse pivot and play. So I think certainly things that they're going to enjoy doing. They will touch the block. I'm not suggesting they'll never be on the block, but they're not going to live there. We're going to screen them to there. We're going to back screen them. We're going to cross screen. We're going to do a lot of different things to get them to the block, but I believe in a clean lane. And so as much as we can, the lane's going to be clean, and we're going to be moving people in and out of the lane rather than parking them there.
How quickly are they picking it up? Like all the new stuff?
Well, it's a little hard to say, to be honest with you, because it's nice to be able to I'm a firm believer in you put the whole thing in, and then you start working on the parts, right? So you big picture, then work on the parts. So they have seen the continuity that the offense can provide, but then it's just about, some of it is having healthy players too. We've got players in varying degrees of readiness, so being cognizant of that. So some days it's just, hey, we're getting a lot of shots up today. Some days it's, for those that are healthy, we can go 2-on-2 and guard in a post and get into ball screen action, get into pin down action, play out of the pin down. But, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, I'm not putting in a 5-out motion offense, but you still have to understand the reads in two-man game. You have to, and whether the point of attack is a ball screen or a pin down, it takes time to learn what that means, learn to read it. Okay, I didn't have the shot coming off the pin down. What's next? I'm going to play to the pinch. I'm going to play to a step up. So there's a whole lot that goes into that right now, we're just at the beginning stage of kind of showing, feeling, touching that.
We've talked to lots of new coaches who come in, and everybody has their own way of doing things. Some don't want to really know anything that happened previously and start clean. Some kind of want to watch film and learn the players and then go from there. Where are you on that? Or do you kind of start clean slate with everybody, or do you want some knowledge of what they have done previously?
It's a little of both. I mean, first of all, you don't come from where I came from and not have watched a lot of film on these guys. Right. I mean, it would be different if I was going to a school that didn't have pro prospects. But the fact that, Queen and Nalissa and even Didi and Dejanay, those guys were all pro prospects. So I was watching them closely before I ever got the job. So the focus hasn't been, let me go back, though I did go back and watch a lot of film on Kamari at Penn State. What does she look like when she's healthy, So I'm doing a little bit of both, but I do want to see, what can they do, and really reprogram them. You take a kid like Caitlin Bickle, who's been such a role player here with obvious understanding of, she got to this program. There was Lauren Cox, there's Kalani Brown. She's in the same class with Nalissa and Queen. She's coming off of an injury, but really challenging her to say, okay, so your role has always been a backup. Doesn't have to stay that way. I'm always going to appreciate a player that puts team first, but the best way she can make us a better team is to decide she's going to compete with Nalissa and Queen every day and make them better ultimately, but also there's going to be times when her with one of those two is a really good lineup for us. And so getting her to change her mindset, and that doesn't mean you're not a good teammate. It doesn't mean that you're not putting team first to say, here's what I can bring to the table, and I'm not going to be in this box anymore. I think it's everyone stepping outside of what their comfort zone was. And I tell them all the time, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because I'm going to put you in new situations. And just because this was the box you were in before, and it was really effective, and you won a lot of games, and you personally even had a lot of success, it doesn't mean that's the way we're going to play. So, it's kind of getting them to understand that they almost need to wipe the slate clean too, and to just really be open to, a different way of thinking, a different way of coaching, and really different viewpoints.
You mentioned how you got to scout this team a lot or watch this team a lot because of the amount of pro prospects. Is that something that maybe you're uniquely set to do because the WNBA season and the women's college basketball season don't overlap at all, really, except maybe, I guess, at the beginning a little bit. But you can really sit down and watch and scout a little bit more than a college basketball and NBA overlap tremendously.
Yeah, there's zero overlap. And so because of that, normally even our conference meetings are at the Final Four. Obviously, this last year with COVID, slightly different. Normally, we would have seen more games in person. I probably would have come down for the Baylor UConn game just to be in that environment and see players in person play in a highly competitive game. But I was always watching games, and part of that is it was my job. It was my job to know people, and part of it is I'm just a basketball nut. So if I'm not watching a college game, I'm watching a European game, or I'm watching an NBA game. So I'm always watching anyway, but certainly it's just part of my job to know the players that are coming and to really look not just at that year, but what's coming next year, what's coming in 2 years, and I was telling the girls the other day, I'm going to know birth dates, because okay, you're watching Paige Beckers, you're watching Caitlin Clark, and there's all this conversation about them. I knew at the time Paige could come out after a junior year and Caitlin couldn't, just based on their birth dates. So that's how far out we're thinking, projecting, who's going to be in the class in 2 years, who's going to be in a class in 3 years. So, you're always kind of paying attention to the college game at that level.
I think that when the transition occurred, and even before you took the job, that there was probably concern about mass exodus. And there's going to be attrition anytime there's a coaching change. And then now the transfer portal. You held on to the major core. Not that some good players didn't move on. And I know what you said about Moon Urson and what kind of person she is, and you'd love to have kept her as well. You have a roster that's still a little bit light. Do you feel like you will have, by the time you get to where you need to be, that you'll have 10, 11, 12 players? I
like where you started, but I'm not sure that where you finished. I think it's important. Look, there's a standard of expectation here. You know, that there were certainly players in the portal that were available that I'm sure if I'd have called would have said, I'll come. But I don't know that it makes sense to add people that don't add value. And so I think that's the bottom line. Are we adding people that are adding value? And value can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't mean they have to come in and be a starter. It doesn't mean they're going to be the next Nalissa Smith. But based on when I was hired, there was no one in the portal that was like Power 5 level type of player that you could even project long-term is going to be a really important piece of the puzzle here. So, you know, we've just been very intentional about who are we talking to. Obviously, Jamie Asbury, someone that we thought, you know, added that three-point shooting, you know, someone who understands this league and can make us better. So we add her. You know, we're always in the portal. We're prepared to add somebody. I mean, look, tomorrow's a big day because tomorrow's the last day players can go in the portal and qualify for, you know, the one-time transfer status where they can play right away. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of movement after tomorrow in terms of who goes in. And so, you know, we've told our team, hey, there might only be 8. We may add some walk-ons in the fall to have practice players. But, you know, take the Notre Dame team a couple years ago that won the national championship. They had the right 8 players. And at this point, what I feel good about is that we have 8 players currently that we have every position covered with backups. They're all good. I can play all of them. And I just firmly believe that you can create an amazing chemistry when you have a group of players that all know they're going to have a significant role in what you do. So, yeah, you can have 13 players, but if 3 of them don't play, what are they adding? You know, what are they adding to your team? And so, you know, assuming health, you know, so yes, we're looking. We've had people on campus. But, you know, I'm just going to say we've got the 8 that we've got right now, and I hope to get 1 or 2 more. But I'm going to be comfortable either way.
You have one more coaching job open, right? Is that something? You got a smile on your face. You going to announce that right now for us?
No, I'm not going to announce that right now. I'm not. But yes, I can tell you that she will be on board sooner rather than later.
Well, we got 50% of it.
There
right
you go.
There. We got okay.
All right, good deal. There's a whole bunch of people we can eliminate right off that clip.
Exactly. There you go.
It's not Odyssey Sims, is it?
It is not, though I will tell you I've had conversations with Odyssey because I think long-term, I think she'd love to coach.
Yeah.
You know, she actually reached out to me, you know, it was probably a month or so now, and I said, well, are you retiring? And she said, no, I'm not quite ready to retire. But I think she's starting to. I mean, having had Jaden in the last year and thinking, you know, projecting forward, I do think it's a little bit in the back of her mind. I don't think right now that, you know, adding someone that can't be fully committed to the mission, so to speak, is the right thing. And I know there have been WNBA players that have been on staffs, but I think it's easier when you're established, when you have, you know, a group of people that have worked together. You know, when you're at the ground floor like this staff is right now, and we're grinding until 11 o'clock every night, I mean, it's a little hard to stay kind of a person down half the year. Because a WNBA season is really, it's 6 months if you're on a decent team. So you're talking about half the year where that person can't be as involved as they probably need to be.
So it's been, 5 years since you were last in the college game. How different or complicated, or how much are you having to learn about recruiting and what all can go on with that now as compared to when you were last in the college game? Because obviously a lot has changed in the last 5 years.
A lot has changed, but I can tell you, not at the foundation, not at what it means to get players interested, who you have to get to know. I mean, you got to know with every person who's going to be a part of their decision-making process. So it's about getting to know the player. It's about getting to know, if it's a single parent home, is it a 2-parent home? Is it the AAU coach that's involved? Is it the high school coach that's involved? Pretty quickly you can get up to speed on who the top players are in 23, who the top players are in 24. This is the first day we haven't had people on campus. Since I don't know when. It's just it's a little bit of a break for us. But I mean, we've had 24s on campus, we've had 23s, we've had 22s. I mean, it's just recruiting is a grind, but it's the lifeblood of any program. So I don't know that a ton has changed. Yes, there's intricacies to the rules at times. Yes, this year was thrown off by COVID in terms of kind of the calendar, but as we go back to a more traditional calendar as we pass through kind of this COVID stretch, I'm starting back on the road with everybody else who didn't get to go on the road last year. So, we'll go out next week and I'll be in 5 spots in 7 days. We'll be back for 10 days and then back out for 5. So I certainly know how to watch and evaluate talent and then communicate with kids and families.
A young lady named Sammy Martin up in Platteville broke your record for scoring points in a career.
Yep.
And I was told you couldn't go see her because of COVID, or maybe your schedule as well, but you sent her a video message. Mm-hmm. What'd you say to her?
Oh, boy. I don't remember. I think it was more of, and I even did a Zoom, their end of the season banquet. I Zoomed with the Platteville team because, unfortunately, their season got cut short. I think they were undefeated, and the state tournament got cut off in the semis,
sure.
Right before. So you talk about heartbreaking for them. It's really funny because I didn't even know I had the record. So that's how kind of crazy it was. And they'd gotten a new high school coach who, when I was with the Dream, had reached out to me about bringing me back and being more involved. And so, I was just grateful to kind of reconnect. I hadn't been back in a number of years. Coaching is so nomadic and it's crazy. The only time I was ever back, even in Southwest Wisconsin, was when I was at Florida Gulf Coast. I recruited a kid named Hannah Whitish from Barneveld High School, which was kind of in the same area as Platteville, and she ended up going to Nebraska and playing there. But, I hadn't been back. But, I don't remember what the message was. Records are meant to be broken.
Sure.
I think when I left middle school, I think I had the 50, the 100, the 200, the 400, the high jump, and the long jump record. And it was how long were those going to last? I don't even know that I run that fast or jump that high. So, I think you just always expect those things to be broken. I can still remember being a high school kid and Sonia Henning, who played at Stanford, had the state scoring record. And that, when I used to dribble around in the driveway, it was that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about breaking her record. And ironically, I was nowhere near it because I was such a pass-first point guard that I was nowhere near the scoring record. But my AAU teammate, Angie Hallbly, broke it my senior year. So one of my very best friends ends up breaking that record, which was then broken probably 2 or 3 more times since then. But yeah, records are meant to be broken. So you're just always happy. I was happy for them that they were successful because Platteville hasn't always been successful in girls' sports.
Melvin Hunt, Billings, others have said that no one's going to outwork you and that you are a sponge when it comes to basketball or soaking in basketball knowledge that you used to go after practice when the Hawks were practicing, which is great because where they are now in the conference finals, and won last night without Trae Young. Where did that come from in you? Where did all that come from?
I think a lot of it is just, first of all, it's in my DNA. I think that I was raised, I've always said in our household, I was raised with this sense of expectation. It was just excellence was expected in our house. So, my brother and my sister and I were all valedictorians of our high school classes. You didn't bring bad grades into the house. You didn't cause trouble. You didn't, I don't know. And now did I feel scared to bring a B home? No. You just So I think I just grew up where like you just were expected to do your best. Like it was just whatever you were doing, whatever sport, whatever activity, whatever you were doing, you were supposed to do your best. And so I think a lot of it is that. And then, I mean, ultimately, why am I that way with basketball? Because it's the thing I first fell in love with, you know? Like I played every sport. I mean, I played soccer, I played Little League Baseball, I played volleyball in high school. I mean, I tried everything. I played everything. Basketball was the first thing that I can truly say I enjoyed everything. And I'm so grateful that I got to be in 4 sports in high school and wasn't a specialty person, but basketball was my first love. And so I just always feel like there's something more I can learn. And when I'm watching a game, you talk about the Hawks or whatever, when I'm watching basketball, I don't watch it as a fan. Like I don't know how that feels anymore. Like now it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but I'm watching what are they running? Who are they trying to take advantage of? What's the mismatch? How are they defending? Who's tagging the roller? You know, I mean, you're watching off the ball, you're watching the pace of the game, you're watching the physicality of the game. And so I always want to learn more. I want to watch, that's why I watch European basketball. What are the international trends? As the game becomes more and more versatile and more positionless, you know, how are people utilizing, you know, people in this game? So yeah, I mean, it's just, I have a passion about it. So I don't always consider it work. Because I love it.
So you've got one of those Fran Fraschilla basketball minds where I could be like, hey, what's going on in Latvia? And you could tell me. Well,
I don't know about Latvia because Latvia is not exactly a country that like produces a ton of women's basketball players. Yeah. Though I do actually follow a few of the beauty of COVID was that it connected coaches like I think they've never been connected before. And so I got connected to a coach with a G League team, and he's always posting international videos. So now I'm like watching all these coaches, men's coaches overseas, and some of the actions that they run. And, you know, you always have to understand, like, are they going to translate to the women's game? Not everything translates, you know? Like, you can't, I mean, as good as Trae Young is, like, he can throw a bad pass and John Collins can go get it and tomahawk dunk it. You know, like there's a little more room for error because of the athleticism. So sometimes you have to ask yourself the questions like, is that open because of the level of athlete or is that open because, man, that's just hard to guard. So, but yeah, I certainly know the game. I mean, Serbia upset France for the Eurobasket championship last week. That was huge. Like, you know, France and Spain are always the favorites. And so, you know, it just, yeah, I watch a lot of basketball.
What's it like to have met Mack Rhoades for the first time? Did you feel just kind of pretty quickly like, hey, I think this is going to be a pretty good partnership? Can you explain just sort of the evolution of that?
Yeah, I mean, I first talked to Mack, like, I guess my interview was on a Sunday. I mean, he interviewed me over the phone on Thursday. You know, I thought we had a pretty good connection, but if you haven't figured out, like, I can make friends with just about anybody. So I just enjoy getting to know people and having conversations. And so, you know, I don't know if I thought it was going anywhere. I just, you know, I appreciated the conversation. I appreciated being a candidate. You know, you grind in this profession, and I was really happy where I was at, but it's always nice to feel like people are recognizing your success or recognizing that you're good at what you do. And so, you know, but I think spending the time that I did with him, you know, through the interview process, and it was really that whole team. It was Mac, it was Jovan, it was Paul and Kevin. Like, I mean, Jovan's become like family for me already. Like, she's my sport administrator, and you know, I mean, she kind of gets us. She gets our staff. She gets our humor, like, and our sarcasm, and kind of the joy that we have in our office space. So, but I think Max sees things in people. I mean, Jovan describes us as being very similar in how we communicate and how we see people and see the best in people, and maybe that sometimes we're both a little too nice. You know, yeah. That's why I always say, like, that's why I hired Tari, because Tari can kind of be my heavy when I need heavy, you know, like, because she just is like, come on, Nicki, like that person is telling you what you want to hear, you know? So like having that little voice sometimes is important.
Did the women's practice facility floor, when Scott Drew walked in there for that picture, to take a picture of the two of you together, did that floor rumble?
I don't know.
What do you remember that moment?
Yeah. I mean, those guys are great. I mean, they're practicing our practice gym right now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Brittany Griner. There's been some incredible players at Baylor basketball history, and she's one that obviously goes down perhaps as the greatest of all time. And it didn't end well with her at Baylor. It was tough, and there was reasons behind it. Have you reached out to embrace her?
She actually reached out to me the day I was hired. So, look, the WNBA circle is so small. Like women's basketball in general is small. When you've got a league of 144, which isn't even ever 144 because some teams have 11 players, and you stick everybody at IMG Academy and sharing the same buffet line and the same pool, and like it was. And not that you don't ultimately end up making connections with people anyway. Like, if you treat people badly in the WNBA, you won't get a free agent. I mean, it's a part of that whole world where your best advocates are the players you've coached, because they're the ones that are gonna tell the tea on you. And so. I don't feel like I had a super close relationship with Brittany. I'm not going to pretend that Brittany was my buddy or anything like that. But you're friendly with people, and people kind of know who you are. And then I had started to actually this off season, I'd gotten to know her agent a lot better, not because of Brittany, but because of some other clients she had. And so there was just this very quick, like Brittany hitting me, saying congratulations, excited for you, excited to get back to Baylor. I think this is just perfect timing. And then her agent connecting with me and saying, let's do something really big, let's do something really cool with her. So yeah, we haven't had a lot of conversations since then. I feel like it's the middle of her season. It's her go time. But as things slow down, we'll definitely reconnect.
How did IMG Academy change you guys as a league? that whole thing, because again, you can't you wouldn't see the NBA. They were in bigger hotels, maybe Chris Paul and LeBron James cross paths, but definitely you were definitely going to cross paths with whoever at IMG. Yeah,
I think the funniest part about it was how much some coaches and players struggled with being so closely interacting with the officials. See, I've just always believed kill them with kindness. So I'm not that person that's embarrassed of what I said the night before when I see the officials the next morning, because a lot of people, let's face it, really sane, really normal, really good people say a lot of insane things to officials, that then the next day, if you saw them, you'd be like, wow, okay, I'm going to get my oatmeal and I'm going to go. So I think that was, it'd kind of be like, dang, she teed me up last night and now I'm going to go sit by her in a lounge chair by the pool, in my off time. So, but I think as a league, it was just a unique experience. It was literally like going away to summer camp. You just weren't allowed to leave. We would ride our bus because we had a remote facility that we played in, but you didn't get off the bus until you got to the facility. And there was, ironically, this carnival, this drive-through carnival with corn dogs and funnel cakes and all that stuff. And every time you drive by, you'd be like, can we just go through that? Can we do something normal? Can we take the bus through this drive-through carnival and get some funnel cakes? But I do think it connected players. You got to know players better from other teams. You got to know their stories better. It was... you had to, we were sharing courts. We were coming and going. You'd face the person that you lost to the night before, and you'd be practicing on the court literally next to them with a curtain between you the next day. So you kind of had to really put the league as a whole above like your person, you know, like sometimes even your own team, like you had to do that a little bit. You had to prioritize and say, man, for our league to survive this year, this is what we have to do. And no one wants to do this, but we've got to do this.
I grew up in that part of the country. It's probably best that you didn't get out that much.
Nicki, what did it mean when the players who were coming back told you they were staying?
I mean, it's always going to feel good. It's you know, and I have to tell you, like, I didn't have to work too hard to get Alyssa or Jordan. I mean, because your best advocates are the people that say good things about you without you having to do that. Like, when you don't have to sell yourself to a player, and look, I don't want to give myself too much credit here, because I'm not sure that, say, Caitlin and Alyssa and Queen weren't already like, hey, let's stay together. Like, we came in together. Let's, you know, as long as they don't hire an idiot, you know, which Mac was never going to do, you know, like, as long as it's someone that we think is okay, like, let's do this together. Because Baylor is us, you know, Baylor is us. But, you know, I know that Ray Caldwell, who coached Alyssa in club basketball, you know, immediately was like, hey, you know, like, the Lord just like dropped a professional coach in your lap, and this is what you want to be, you know? Al Honor with Central Florida Elite was the same way with Jordan. Like, you're going there to win and be a pro, and like, so, you know, having other people speak for you because you have relationships with those people and they know those players and they know what their goals are and they know what they want. You know, I didn't try to sell them on what I could do for them. I just tried to sell them on, like, this is who I am. Like, this is why I'm here. This is why I want to be here. This is what I think Baylor can be. But certainly for the players that were considering transferring, I'm like, look, that's okay too. Like, you chose Baylor for reasons that weren't me. And maybe it's not even me, you know? I mean, I look at someone like Trinity Oliver. I mean, she spent 4 years of her life here. She graduated from here. You know, I'm not sure that she has any problems. Like, I think I'd be comfortable with anyone calling her and saying, like, hey, she and I built a really good relationship, but she'd spent 4 years here. She got her degree. She was looking for a different experience with basketball. And look, I wouldn't have wanted to be the one that if she spent a year here and didn't get what she wanted out of this experience here, that would have held her back from doing something that, you know, might be good for her. So hopefully she gets exactly out of basketball what she wants at the University of Washington, because, you know, that's what I would want for any player. I transferred. I mean, I played on a team that went to the Final Four. I went 2 Big Ten championships. Like, there were great parts of that. But my experience at Marquette, like, being someone that played 35 minutes a game, that was in there at crunch time, that helped my team, you know, win an NCAA tournament game, like, those are memories that I'll always cherish. So I think there's a right reason to leave, a wrong reason to leave, but every player has to make that personal decision for them.
Last question for you. We appreciate your time. We really do. Kyle, thank you so much. What happens if somebody underestimates you?
I guess they figure it out later. I mean, I just think a lot of times, I do think a little bit, I have a little bit of the underdog mentality. And I do think, because I'm not always the loudest or boldest or, you know, I have my way about going about things. Like, even when, you know, I got this last assistant coach to commit.
Well, you're gonna do that today, right? You're gonna.
Yeah, I had sent a text to Mac going, you know, I know you've been doubting me, you know, that I would ever get a staff hired, but, you know, like, and he said, no, never doubted you. But I mean, I have a method to my madness. I don't think it's that. I firmly believe in doing things my way and having the right people. And look, you know, if I have 2 assistants or 3, I could have survived a long time with 2 assistants, as long as they're the right 2 and they're really working hard. Because, look, I know there's a lot of people out there that have jobs that probably don't earn their keep, you know? So it's about having the right people to surround our players with. And so, you know, I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of people asking those questions, like, does she know what she's doing? I firmly believe I know what I'm doing. My method might be a little bit different than everybody else's.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Go get a little break. Go get a little vacation or something.
I'm gonna go paddleboard and hang out with my kids this weekend, so it'll be great.
Oh, good for you. Thank you very much,
All
Nicki.
right,
Appreciate
thank you.
it. Nicki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, with us in studio here on SicEm365 Radio. Baylor transfer, Arizona transfer, James Akinjo in a moment. Craig?
Yeah, a little NBA news. Giannis is A-OK. No
Good.
structural damage. He does not have a torn ACL or anything like that people were fearing. So he's been checked out, and he should be good to go. No structural damage after that weird landing. Ligaments are sound as well.
Now let's get Trae Young back in that series and see what we want to see.
Yes. So
Coming up next, Arizona transfer James Akinjo got great news today from Jerome Tang. Next on SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI. If you want to save money and find out what hurts so much, what is painful in your shoulder, your knee, your back, your neck, somewhere, Ideal MRI can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars with their state-of-the-art technology MRI machine, and also help you with your insurance as well. Something hurts. There's a reason behind it. If your doctor says, let's get an MRI, you tell them Ideal MRI, $497 or less every single time at idealmri.com.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
The 4th of July sales event is going on at Allen Samuels with the 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude and values up to $3,750 or 1.9% for 72 months plus $500 bonus cash. And the 2021 Jeep Gladiator Overland with values up to $1,500 or 3.9% for 72 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340, online at allensamuelsdcj.com.
Come by. Let's be friends.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screen screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
In a moment, Arizona transfer James Akinjo, 4:30, Connally football coach Terry Gerik, who was promoted as from offensive coordinator to head coach to replace Shane Anderson. We mentioned the NBA last night. The Hawks, despite no Trae Young, yes, Giannis went out, and Craig gave it a great update on his potential injury. That series now 2-2 tonight, the Clippers and Phoenix. And the Clippers are down 3-1 in that series.
Yeah, I don't know how he's not more hurt than he was, but that's great news. I know a lot of people were freaking out about, what that injury could have potentially been, and it's good news. So, hopefully it'll stay that way. Hopefully Trae Young will get healthy, and we can actually see some healthy superstars playing in the NBA playoffs.
I do have 2 or 3 things we're going to get to at some point today, probably at just after 4. Note about Wisconsin's quarterback Graham Mertz, a note about UT when it comes to name, image, likeness, and also even a restaurant in Lincoln or Omaha or somewhere in Nebraska and how it might work. We're now, well, let's do this first. Do you have the audio, Armstrong? This is the video on Twitter from Alvin Brooks III, posted this up on Twitter earlier today with also Jerome Tang and James Akinjo.
I'm doing good.
You just doing just good?
Why are you recording me, Coach? What's going on?
You about to feel great because your waiver cleared. You playing this year.
I'll call you right back. Coach. They gotta call some people.
Who you about to call, bro?
Oh, man.
Oh, it's just breaking on my phone. James Akinjo has.
My dad about this last night. I love keeping weighing heavy on me for real. Let me call you right back, Coach.
All right, Phil.
All right.
Congratulations, bro.
Congratulations. I gotta call compliant. I gotta call Q.
Hey, call Q. Q said he expected 25 and 10 and a photo one assist turnover. All right.
All right, so that was Jerome Tang, Alvin Brooks, and James Akinjo from Arizona. A waiver has been cleared by the NCAA. We had James on when he committed to come to Baylor to transfer. He joins us now live. Baylor, James Akinjo on SicEm365 Radio. We saw the emotion. Can you kind of describe the day you've had today, James?
I had a good day. Woke up, worked out, and went to class, came home, and ate. I just got a shower when I got a FaceTime call from Coach. And when he always regular calls me. When he FaceTimed me, I knew something was up. I didn't know exactly what. So I'm like, what's going on? And Coach Tang just hangs up. Like, I'm going to call you right back. And I'm like, man, what's going on? And he called me back and sang in the back recording me. So I didn't know what was going on, but I was hoping there was some good news. And, it was even better than what I hoped for. So I'm just very thankful for God for the opportunity.
How nervous were you about it? That was a lot of relief we just saw there on your face. It was weighing on you a little bit.
Definitely. I was actually hoping that it was the news that I was given, so I was kind of real nervous about it. But like you said, it was a sign of relief that you guys heard from me, and I can be more happy that everything fell through.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that they called you the way they did and recorded it so you can have that memory because it was really cool to see your reaction and how excited you were. And you were saying, you're like, I got to call you right back. Who'd you need to let know about what the news was? You have family to call and things like that?
Yeah, man, I had to call my family first. I had to call my grandma, my uncle, my auntie, my pops. I had to call everybody that's close to my family.
What was their reactions?
Man, they were so happy for me. They know how I've been working. They know, we all God-fearing people. So, we all put God first. And, we just super happy, super blessed for the opportunity.
James, you've been on campus now for a little bit. So you are now a part of course, Baylor University. Now you're officially able to play this year. What has this first, I guess, almost month been like for you, and how you have fit in, and what you now see with this program, the coaches and players, your teammates?
It's been really good. This is some of the most fun I've ever had playing basketball. The way that we compete and the fashion that we do it and the way that we work. And it's also been, some of the hardest working, so I'm having fun while working hard. So I just cannot wait for the opportunity to get out there and play the game that I love.
How much have you gotten to know your new teammates so far?
I got to know them a lot. Everybody got their own personality, and when I first got here, it was interesting, learning everyone and learning everyone's personality. But, after getting to know everybody, they all real good people. And, they are just real good people, real good basketball players. Everybody on the team work hard, and I can't wait to, step out and go to war with these guys.
James, have you seen Scott Drew come in with a bad day hanging around him, or not a smile at any point since you've been in town?
At all. Man, when I talked to this guy, when he was recruiting me, I thought it was fake, but it's really real. Like, he is the most positive guy you ever meet, and it's really fun playing for a coach like that. He always keeps you going, and he won't even allow you to have a bad day. He'll pick you up, so it's really fun playing for a guy like that.
To a man, from players who, back when he first got here in 2003, to even those who are a part of the roster now or those headed to the NBA, to a man, everybody says that they don't quite know, and then they actually are around him and they realize he is who he is. And what does that mean to a player?
It means a lot. It's putting like a sense of trust with you as a player and the coach. So when you're out there, especially for a guard and a player, the best thing a coach can give a player is freedom and trust, in my opinion. So you're not playing out there you're not playing nervous or tense. You're not playing trying to make a mistake. You're out there having fun, and you playing hard for your teammates and your coaches. One thing, Coach Drew and we big on here is family. So, I think what you seen last year, the way these guys play hard is not just for themselves. It's for the person that's on the side of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's really nice, and it's a real good thing to have a coach and a coaching staff like that.
All right, we heard Coach Tang, 25-10. That's what they expect. What do you like that goal?
Yeah, I like that goal. That's a realistic goal, if you ask me.
All right.
What do you see? You've been practicing, and the guard play that Baylor had last year, and some of those guys are back, and you, of course, are going to add to that. In fact, as Coach Tang mentioned, what do you see around you talent-wise?
Man, I see a lot of NBA players around me. We got a lot of talent 1 through 5, and I think me coming in and contributing and doing what I do best. Man, I see the opportunity to have a great season.
James Akinjo, go ahead.
Make a deep turnaround like last year, but definitely an opportunity to have a great season.
You told us back, James, when you did decide to transfer to Baylor about where you came from and your upbringing and where you came from near Oakland and how you were determined to make sure you did not become a statistic. On a day like today, does that even add to that even more, the happiness in your life that things can go well?
Definitely. You should see the support that I'm getting from all the guys in my neighborhood back home. Not even guys from my neighborhood, but just from my city. Where did my city hold me down? Where did my city support me? Where did my area support me? Man, it's just a bigger motivation to get in the gym, work harder, and, do what I can to try to not only do it for them, but do it for me, and just go hard as I can.
How much better will you sleep tonight knowing that this decision has been made?
A lot better. I might even go buy a new mattress. That's how much better.
There you go.
You're going to go buy a new mattress? Is that what you said?
Yeah, everything new, man. That's how I'm feeling. I'm just really excited to, but not realistically, it makes you want to get in the gym even more. Now that you know that you will have an opportunity to go out there and compete with your brothers, guys you work hard with every day. Man, I'm just so blessed. I just keep saying I'm blessed because I thank God every day for this opportunity.
Yeah, I could imagine if this thing would have gone the other way, it would have been hard. We wouldn't have even asked you to come on the air because it would have been brutal. the joy in your life. And there's that word joy again that Baylor brings to their program. Craig?
Yeah, James, I apologize if we asked you this the last time. I can't quite remember, but you've spoken a lot. I mean, your faith is evident when you're talking. How much is that openness, that message of faith, that belief that you can have at Baylor and maybe not so much at every other school around the country? How much of that was a draw for you?
It was definitely a job because, like I said, my family has raised me putting God first. So with my grandma, when she really got a chance to dive into the culture and find out what type of guys I would be around, she loved it, and that's big for me because if I'm somewhere, I got to know that my family comfortable with me being here. My family got to trust the people that I'm in good hands here, and so playing here, it's not just gonna help me become a better basketball player, but it's gonna help me become a better person, a better individual. Help me continue to work on myself every day and just, do some good in the world and kind of share my blessings with whoever I can help touch and reach when after this basketball stuff is over with. So the culture here, I love it. And I'm so thankful that God put me here in this place. I believe that this is all part of His plan.
No question about it. Can you explain if there's been ever a call like you got from Coach Tang, similar to what made you have that kind of emotion? Not even basketball terms. Anything else?
Nah, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Boy, you could see it. You could feel it.
It was awesome. I'm glad they recorded it. It's very cool, and you'll be able to look back on that, your kids, family, everything. I think that's great that they did that, and your genuine reaction. I put a lot of smiles on people's faces today, so that's great.
James, go get that mattress, man. Yeah. Go get the mattress. Go sleep well, and that's so awesome to see your emotions, the raw part of it as well, the real part of it. Thank you for your time, and go relax and take a deep breath, but I know you'll go full throttle with energy as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Coach.
James Akinjo, Arizona transfer. That reaction. Armstrong, can you pop that up one more time?
Yeah,
we have to.
But his answer to the faith aspect, I think, was a brilliant answer and put it on a recruiting loop for Scott Drew and company, honestly. I mean,
absolutely. They can take it and use it all they want. Here again is Jerome Tang. He talks and calls, and coaches are always talking to the players. Here he is again.
I'm doing good.
You just doing just good?
Why are you recording me, Coach? What's going on?
You about to feel great because your waiver cleared. You playing this year.
I'll call you right back. Coach. They gotta call some people.
Who you about to call, bro?
Oh, man.
Oh, it's just breaking on my phone. James Akinjo has
my dad about this last night. That low-key been weighing heavy on me for real. Let me call you right back, Coach.
All right, Phil. Congratulations, bro.
Congratulations. I gotta call compliant. I gotta call Q.
Hey, call Q. Q said he expected 25 and 10 and a photo what assist turnover. All right.
There you go. All right, great stuff. Good emotion. Jerome, Alvin Brooks, and that staff, you know how close they are. And to have that on video. Imagine if you would have just called him and told him without it being recorded. In that moment, the explosion is kind of like a guy getting a call from a team at the NFL draft or somewhere like that as well. All right, when we come back to 4 o'clock hour, we were going to have Ira Lewis, who's now going to be the defensive line coach at Shadow Creek High School. He had something come up. I'm not sure he'll be available. That's okay. We'll get him on, and maybe even today. Also, Terry Gerik at 4:30, Jon Machota on the Cowboys at 5. But there's a lot to get to with name, image, likeness on the eve of, and so much more. And it's SicEm365 Radio.
Travel is back. Hit the road with big savings during the summer savings event at Richard Carr. The road is waiting. Explore America again in the space, safety, and luxury of a Buick SUV. And during the Richard Carr summer savings event, current Buick or GMC owners get 16% off a new 2021 Buick Encore, 13% on Encore GX, 9% on midsize Buick Envision, or 13% on a full-size Buick Enclave. Summer travel is back at the summer savings event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Looking to the end zone. Got him in. Touchdown.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Man, what an hour. Hope you enjoyed hour 1, SicEm365 Radio. Nicki Collen in studio for a chunk of time on many things. And there's so much more that we could ask her, and we will, because there's plenty of time. As she said, it's just June.
You're over there trying to start stuff.
Yeah. I should have, if I was worried about, I didn't know what the camera was on, but I was going to take a picture of Romart's face.
Yeah, on a couple of those, yeah. Yeah, I made a side glance over there.
Men's basketball team's practicing in the women's facility right now.
That was noteworthy. That was notable.
So is the women's assistant coach, who is female.
Yeah, I put out a couple of tweets. I mean, she did say on that final assistant coaching spot that it's going to be a female, and that she'll be around sooner rather than later. We just don't know the name just yet. But yes, that final spot will go to someone who is apparently, just need to be finalized, basically. But yeah, I like that she also touched on, Odyssey Sims, perhaps, maybe looking at her as an assistant coach one day. But, right now is not good because of, obviously, Odyssey's playing in the WNBA. But, that door's open. She's already brought Sophia Young into the fold. And then, the relationship with Brittany Griner, that was something that I was thinking about, when she was first hired, and then even this past weekend, I was thinking about it, knowing we were going to have her on, of yeah, I definitely think that's worth asking, is are you going to open the doors to Griner, because they've been shut, and that's both people's faults.
Mainly Brittany.
Yeah, mainly Brittany. Yeah. I'm not at all saying that was Mulkey, but there has been, no relationship really there, and she's a huge star in the WNBA and has been for years, and quite frankly, is probably getting towards the end of her career, sooner rather than later, but I like that that's going to be a possibility because she is one of the biggest Lady Bear stars of all time. No matter how she walked out the door or whatever. So I think that is important, and that's obviously beneficial to recruiting, beneficial to promotions, beneficial in a lot of ways.
It's going to be beneficial to Baylor's public image, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There are things that linger with Brittany Griner that were not that Brittany created by her interview with Kate Fagan that some were probably true in a microscopic aspect, in that there are certain things at a religious institution that are going to be different for Brittany Griner because she is a lesbian. But in the macro sense, I think it needs to come out that, listen, Brittany was treated really damn well here.
Yeah.
And she's probably to the point in her life where she's matured and sees I had a pretty good time when I was at Baylor. It was pretty great. And so that relationship healing will go a long way, I think, for Baylor, and showing listen, people say a lot of things, but this is what the action is.
All right, this is what I'm gonna say. Is Brittany Griner's article in ESPN, the magazine, was damaging. It was incredibly damaging, and it was also in a lot of ways. I don't know if Brittany understood what she was saying at times. I'm not saying she wasn't trying to say what she felt as someone who's gay. I'm not, on campus or not. She was a freaking rock star at Baylor, and if we ever get her on the show, we'll have that conversation. Also, the fact that her jersey's not retired because she had not graduated, that was a policy. I had no problem with that policy either. And so if that changes, it changes. That's fine. New people in charge, new people have new policies. But she's the greatest player to ever play women's basketball. With all due respect to Susie Eppers, to Sophia Young, to Lauren Cox, or anyone else, Odyssey Sims, they're all in that conversation. But, yeah, that's something that there's not just going to be, hey, come walk in the door, let's hug. It's not going to be that way, because one of the things that she was asked to do and actually said she was going to do, and this is to defend Coach Mulkey on this, is that when she came back that same year later on to a practice, it was awkward. And she did meet. And there were meetings, and she was going to, in one moment, it appeared she was going to, in front, at a game, get on the microphone and, fall on the sword in a way. That never happened, although that was apparently what was supposed to happen. And so, she's had her opportunities, and now maybe that door can open up.
Well, and now she doesn't have to do that in particular.
No.
She can just come back.
We're talking, that's 9-10 years ago.
Yeah, right. And, I think it would be foolish to not, I don't know. We need to talk to Mac Rhodes soon to kind of get his thoughts. Did y'all get that article I sent, by the way, on the name, image, likeness?
Yeah.
That was really interesting, wasn't it? On just kind of clearing the air on how this is kind of going to work.
Yeah.
But it also makes me think of, if you're the Baylor, the Farrell Center Pro Shop, or I'm sure what nice, shiny merchandise shop they'll have at the Pavilion, would you not want a Griner jersey hanging during Lady Bears games along a Sims and along a Cox and along a Didi? And, yeah, of course. Yeah, she's one of the greatest players, or the greatest player probably in program history, and one of the greatest athletes to come out of the university. So I think it'd be beneficial to both sides as everyone's gotten older and matured and things like that to go ahead and patch that up with some new blood in here. But yeah, Paul made a good point during the commercial break. Can you imagine Didi Richards with name, image, likeness?
Oh,
now that's the person who would really clean up.
But see, that's the person you need to invest in. It's not only someone who has a personality, but someone who already understands marketing.
Yeah,
you don't have to explain things to her. She's just gonna go.
Yeah, you watch her Twitter feed. She already gets it, and with her
already got
modeling and her clothing and all that other stuff, and just her expressions and the way she knows what she's doing.
I'm gonna warn people. You're gonna see a lot of NIL things happen where it's gonna be like, "Hey, my name's Big Tank. I'm here for True Classic Tees. They're good T-shirts.
$100.
We wear them." And they don't bunch up.
Let me say, Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz filed to register a logo trademark he intends to use with the sale of clothing. I even see the trademark. Okay?
It's nice, but Graham, first let's make sure people give a crap about him.
He might be I don't know if he's a handsome guy.
He's a good player, but
but it's like, I'll buy Jordan stuff. That's Jordan, but I'm not necessarily going to buy every. How many? There's going to be like 1 billion of these athletic clothing lines with different logos and things. So in Wisconsin, I'm sure it'll do well. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're going to see.
Listen, I'm going to do my favor right now.
Why are we making fun of him, man?
Because I want to. Nice shirt. It's a Mertz.
It's Mertz.
Runza. It's a restaurant somewhere in Nebraska it's a regional food chain offering deals to the first 100 current athletes who opt in and promote the restaurant's rewards app to their followers on social media. That's a restaurant in Nebraska. Also, Craig sent this to us. This is about Josh Thompson and DeMarvion Overshown, 2 current players, defensive backs, that will be a part of what appears to be last stand hats from Mike Murphy, who founded it, and he's going to have athletes promote his brand, and there's another option.
He does and I didn't go explore the whole merchandise catalog, but a big part of what they do is kind of trucker hats, vintage looking hats, but doing it with alternative logos that have Austin or UT meaning, that's the one thing that was interesting in that article. It made mention that if these guys do autograph signings, I'm sure plenty of them will, they can't use the school logos. They can't use the school marks, they're going to be all on their own in that regard, which I do think is interesting. And I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, if you go see Jacob Zeno at a car dealership doing a signing, you're not going to see any BU. You're not going to see Baylor this or Baylor that. Because that's not how it works right now. Yeah. But that truck hat or that hat company, and maybe they do clothing and stuff too. I mean, apparently they're pretty popular and they put out good stuff. But yeah, they're going to lean on some UT athletes to sell even more.
This Murphy guy makes a good point that that when Tyrone Swoops was, of course, that Wildcat, they called him the 18-wheeler package, that they could have had a hat. That was 18-wheeler.
Well, and some people were doing that. They'd go on Redbubble or on some cheap make-your-own shirt site, and they would make them illegally, I guess, or whatever, or do it to where it was vague enough that you knew what it was talking about, but it wasn't violating any trademarks, and they would do that all the time. I've seen that a lot, but yeah, now you can just do it on the up and up through a real brand and actually make legit money off of it.
That's the stuff that I'm excited about is, and you can you're not making a whole bunch of money, but when you get those fads that happen where they're t-shirt fads.
Coco for Blitnikoff. That's a t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of things, Coco can make money on it.
Yeah.
As he should, that's what's good about it. The other stuff is going to be, or you're going to see a lot of silly stuff for a long time.
Oh yeah. There's going to be a lot of bad ideas for sure. And again, I'm all on board. I'm just, that article, that Texas article, I think was really a great explanation of how this is going to work more often than not.
And that's that guy's making that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Give them their hats, take pictures, have them do social media stuff. That is not something that's going to be too much for a kid who may not understand what their role is in marketing yet. Wear this hat.
Yeah.
That's good.
And we'll see how much it actually ends up mattering. I'm sure that, maybe Graham Mertz, because Wisconsin has a very passionate fan base, maybe he sells thousands and thousands of those shirts because he has a really good season. It'll just kind of probably depend on the fan base and the type of star the player is. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot more bad ideas than good and a lot more athletes that don't really make a whole lot extra, but they will make extra. They'll make more than they were making. And I think, there will be some, though, that absolutely are going to cash the blank in on this.
And it's going to start at midnight tonight. Players have to be careful. If there's any kind of contracts that cannot be signed until July 1st, the NCAA, Board of Regents or whatever, they have all confirmed now. This is it. It's open. The door's open. And boosters or donors, they can do it with them. But it still has to be within school and or university and or state laws based on what those might be.
Yeah. The University of Florida listed some of their requirements, and one of them was that boosters are prohibited from doing it, but they did not define what a booster is.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Dennis Dodd, there's some things with his coverage on certain things that I'm not always thrilled with, but I've known him a long time. Even though today was a rubber stamp by the board of directors, the NCAA, still feels strange, weird, and exhilarating at the same time entering this new era. From the looks of things, midnight is going to be NIL New Year's Eve. Great point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see at midnight, I guess. And there's also got to be some realization on the part of these people from the marketing aspect of, if I turn on my computer here at midnight and every athlete under the sun's slapping some graphic in front of me for the business, you know what I mean? There's going to have to be some calculations made and some actual marketing planning and things like that for some of these companies for it to actually be impactful. Because if you just you know, I don't know. I just feel like you're probably throwing away a little bit of money if you just do it real simple, you know, like the post-game 30-second reaction or whatever from the offensive lineman. I don't know how much you're getting return on investment, but if Trevor Lawrence is doing it, then you're probably getting a pretty good return. So, again, I'm just curious. None of us have any idea what this is going to look like, and I'm ready to see the dust settle and kind of, you know, see what this new frontier is all about.
Always like Gary Pettis. He coached the Rangers. He's now with the Astros, the third base coach. He's been out. Story I saw, Craig, you just did this. Gary Pettis to rejoin the Astros after battling multiple, is that myeloma? Mm-hmm. He's been battling that for quite some time. He's scheduled a return to the team. That's great news. Gary Pettis was a hellacious defensive outfielder with the Detroit Tigers for the longest of time. All right, now, 414.
Okay.
What do you got?
We got an NIL right here. Boomin' Fireworks, the world's coolest fireworks store, Iowa Boomin', is excited to welcome the world's best three-point shooter, Jordan Bohannon. Tomorrow, July 1st at 4:30, come meet J-Bo, get his autograph, buy some fireworks, and get entered into a raffle for signed memorabilia, red, white, and Boomin'.
There you go.
Fireworks.
There you go. Also, one note on, remember Dare Rosenthal, the young man from LSU who entered the transfer portal. Latest I heard, and this is from a couple of people who cover LSU, is that LSU is no longer involved. Remember the story yesterday that Ed Orgeron, Scott Woodward kind of tried to jump back in it. But I was told that Baylor is still one of the potential destinations, but that somebody else in the Big 12 may have gone all in with NIL to try to grab him to be a part of their roster. So there is competition within the Big 12 with Baylor and others when it comes to the offensive lineman. But it's also Baylor's call. If he wants to come to Baylor, Baylor makes the call based on compliance and a few other things that they have to do some due diligence on Dare Rosenthal.
Yeah, how many of these guys are going to make the quick buck and ruin their actual long-term future? You know that's going to happen quite a bit too. They're going to see like, you know, I probably could go to Iowa State and develop and be a, you know, maybe a draft pick or whatever. And I know that's kind of what you think going anywhere you go, but, you know, I just feel like there's going to probably be some like final two battles that we see, and the school with like the big NIL program or whatever, or the big city atmosphere, like Texas with Austin, they're going to pimp that out, and it'll probably work on a lot of guys, but you know, look, that's a good degree and everything like that, but I wonder how much NIL, I guess I'm saying, is going to actually influence recruiting decisions. And that's what they're banking on, I suppose. But I don't know if that's the best long-term, you know, thing to decide with.
I just hope that there is, and it won't, there will be some that jump the gun. There will be some
money grabs,
that get involved in things that they feel like they're going to supposed to get more out of it. There's just it's kind of the wild, wild west. But you know what? You learn from it. You watch from it. You react to it. I just hope nobody loses their eligibility and nobody gets screwed by a business or someone like that either. I don't think anyone's going to try to do that. But
the fireworks story, I had to laugh when you mentioned that a second ago because fake Hacksaw Jim Duggan on Twitter responded, "What other options are there to buy fireworks if I don't want to run into this D-bag?" So, like, there's going to be a lot of that as well.
I mean, this is the 1 week a year where fireworks make their money. I mean, I guess New Year's, but like, so again, if you're a fireworks stand, you got to go all out, you know, if you can. So.
Perfect timing.
Funny. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I tell you what, those fireworks stands, they used to where they'd pop up. Now they're just permanently.
So
they just come, you know, 2 or 3 times a year. They just all of a sudden they're open. Here comes the big.
Yeah, it's an empty shed half the time.
Boom.
Yeah, it's a public service announcement for people in my neighborhood. Get it all out of your system on July 4th. I don't want to hear fireworks on July 5th.
No, you're going to do that.
That's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
That's un-American.
It's rude. It's mean to the dogs.
Did you do it when you were a kid? Did you ever accidentally get a couple of sparklers on July 7th?
No, I've disliked fireworks since I was 7.
Oh, my God.
You know, like look, they're right up
children.
They're right up there with parades to me. Like, it was like, oh, hey, it's pretty in the sky.
Did you like
it's the
cartoons
same damn
when you were
thing
a
every
kid?
time. Yeah, I like cartoons.
Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
Well, yeah, sure. I'm not going to get in that little sticky way.
Go ahead, Craig.
No, I think I lost my train of thought. I had something that was
Look, but I mean, like fireworks.
I mean, when you're a military kid,
and
we would go to the monstrous fireworks celebrations on the Air Force bases, and I mean, they were at the Pentagon. I mean, it was.
No,
I loved them. Now, did I play around with them much? No.
Yeah.
Did my cousins, when they traveled, uncle and all that, came to see us, or vice versa? Did we have some? Yeah, we did.
I like the 4th of July until nighttime. And then
that's when you do the fireworks.
And then it just annoys me. Like, again,
you can't see them during the
fireworks, day. Halloween parades can go screw. I just can't.
What would they be if they all did that?
I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. I just cannot. I can't stand any of the three of them. Parades chiefly. Halloween parade is my actual personal hell. Like if I get to the pearly gates and God says you didn't make it, I know He's sending me to a Halloween parade.
I remember what I was thinking of. So we kind of have like tiptoed and like eggshelled around these athletes because they're just student athletes. Like we don't treat them like professionals. Now are they allowed to be treated like professionals? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've done this. They're just student athletes. Like don't bash on them like they're professional players. Like I've heard that constantly. They're here on a scholarship. So is it open season now because they're making money? I'm not saying anybody's gonna go hunt to like hurt somebody, but I'm just saying. Do we still treat them like these fragile little kids that are just only student athletes, or are we going to start treating them like people who are out there making money through business?
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm kind of always surprised about that, like when professional athletes complain about the attention they get, is like, no, you signed up for attention.
You did.
You signed up for attention. Now, some of it is unwarranted, and that's fair to call out. But when you sign up for attention, and you're going to make money off of being a person who gets attention, then the door swings both ways. You don't get to control the door as much as you'd like to control the door. Who comes in the door and all that is just is a flood. And so if college athletes are going to put themselves out there to promote products, they better be ready for some stuff. Look, I'll give you the Colin Kaepernick example. Colin Kaepernick has this big Nike deal because of his social justice stances. But Colin Kaepernick will also have to reckon with people asking him like, all right, good, you're standing up for what you believe in. How about the Malaysian kid who makes your shoes for $1 a week in a sweatshop that Nike's done before? Like, those are things that they have to answer. So again, if you're a college athlete and you decide to partner with a company, if that company, has something they do that people don't like, you have to answer for why you did it. You do, not your school, not anybody else. You made that choice. So if the chicken restaurant you have, puts too much antibiotics in the chicken and people are getting sick, and somebody comes and asks you about that, well, you made the choice to take their money.
Yeah, it's like people were trying to cancel USAA for advertising on Fox News. And like when I say people, it's like probably 30 people in actuality, because Twitter is such a fake world. I mean, it really is in some ways, of just the amount of just nonsense spewed on there, knowingly nonsensical when it's typed, and just the amount of people who seem to think that like 5 likes means that the whole world likes or hates their opinion. And I've been guilty of that in the past. I heard enough people talk about how much of a funhouse mirror it is that it just woke me up to it. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be things like that if you're attached to a certain brand, I suppose, and there's going to be probably backlash that maybe you didn't receive before. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like NBA players would love to make the same amount of money they're making and have the same travel and the same, gratuities and the same everything that they get, but they would like to do it without anybody yelling at them on Twitter. Well, that's not how it works. Like there's got to be, some give and some take, and there's got to be some negatives to anything that anybody does. But there's going to be some negatives to this. I don't think we just know what those are just yet, because it's all brand new.
Amateurism is
dead,
hanging like a thread. Basically, yeah.
It's essentially just
I thought
a designation.
The Olympics were at some point when I was younger, which is of course a long, long time ago. The Olympics were amateurism, and then about the late 70s or so, you could tell the European countries started to change kind of what they thought were amateurs. The United States then didn't like losing things. And so then they changed their definition of who could be a part of the Olympic Games. Now it is just wide open. I mean, track athletes, whoever, they're getting money. They're getting money. And hell, our basketball team is pro because we didn't like losing. And so then we had to send a message. And then
that was the right call, though. We needed to send a message.
I agree. Yeah.
Whether
or not we still do.
I think the message was, we're going to send our pros, and I think the idealist in the group thought, well, now this will make everybody go back. And then they got so much attention to it, it was like, well, no, you just.
But there's always going to be just one original dream team.
Yeah, in my opinion, that 92 dream team was the dream team. Mm-hmm. And it's really just been watered down subsequently every version since. I don't think anybody even refers to it. I think they did briefly with LeBron one Olympics year. It was like Dream Team 3 or something. But no, there was one, and there was one only, in my opinion, and that was 92 in Barcelona with that cast of just legends on that roster. That was an incredible
They sent the message, and the message was, we are dominant.
We're dominant when we want to be.
Like you're better than us in basketball.
I wish we could see the full film other than just grainy little video of the practice that was the greatest basketball game ever played.
Yeah.
That was the dream team going against each other. I wish we could have seen that.
Dan Murphy, ESPN on the NIL. And again, we'll have Terry Gerik of Connally here momentarily. Board of Directors decided today to officially suspend the organization's rules prohibiting athletes from selling the rights to their names, image, and likenesses. Represents the major shift in the association's definition of amateurism. The decision comes after, we know, years of debate, whatever. The NCAA rules that prevent schools from paying players directly remains intact. The board directed schools to make sure that payments to athletes are not expressly for their athletic achievements, and to ensure that no payments are used as recruiting inducements. That right there will be shredded by midnight tonight.
The Iowa basketball player's little promo thing talks about him being the world's best three-point shooter, so they've already struck out there because they directly have him there because of just that and not his academics.
Why are they going to pull? Are they going to pull a kid there because he's got good grades?
Oh.
Not like people are watching television for the best essay contest. Come on.
The new rules will allow athletes to profit monetizing social media accounts, signing autographs, teaching camps or lessons. That's interesting. Starting their own businesses and participating in advertising campaigns, among many other potential ventures.
Are there taxes involved here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you're gonna get 1,000 or 1,500 or 10,000, you got to claim it. Be careful.
So there will be financial learning one way or the other. Either you're on your game or you're going to learn really quickly when those taxes start getting pulled.
And
wait a second.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of schools, colleges, universities who are now having classes about. They're going to need to have classes, not just like to be a CPA, a business owner, to be who you are as an athlete, a student athlete. When we come back, Terry Gerik, the interim, and now he is officially been promoted as the head football coach at Connally, the Cadets. Terry Gerik is next on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got a lot of great deals going on right now over at Richard Carr. It's the summer savings event, and that means that they've got new and pre-owned vehicles all over the lot that can be yours right now and can be yours at discounted prices. A lot of people are out on the road once again, traveling, going visiting the grandparents, or just driving cross country to see the sights. Well, with Travel Back, you want to be in a reliable vehicle while you cross the highways and byways, the good old USA. So during the summer savings event, get back on the road with space, safety, and luxury. You can do all that in a Buick. Right now, Richard Carr's Buick SUVs priced to move. Current Buick or GMC owners get 16% off new 2021 Encores, 13% on Encore GXs, 9% on midsize Buick Envisions, or 13% on full-size Buick Enclaves. And as mentioned earlier, Richard Carr's also loaded with premium pre-owned cars and trucks, all of them priced to move during the summer savings event with multiple cars and trucks under $230 a month for qualified buyers. Each pre-owned vehicle also goes through a 172-point inspection before it hits the parking lot. And with dozens of lenders, Richard Carr says yes when others say no. 100% credit approval is always their goal. And Richard Carr is your local hometown dealership, so give them a chance to earn your business with their great prices, their free oil changes on new cars and trucks, and superior service after the sale. And hey, don't take those free oil changes for granted. That's like a good $60 right there, depending on where you go. So adds even more to the already great deal. Come by and take a test drive or let them bring the test drive to you. It's a summer savings event going on all month at Richard Carr.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie K. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
We've covered high school football, we hope, as much as you could possibly imagine, and we have so much set up for the 2021 season. Each week, Connally football, Midway football we'll have on SicEm365 Radio. Last year, we had the opportunity to do Connally football with Shane Anderson as the head coach. He's now at Midway. And Terry Gerik, offensive coordinator, was the interim and now has been promoted as the head coach. At Connally, the cadets, that's official. I heard from Wesley Holt, the superintendent, earlier today as well. And Terry joins us on SicEm365 Radio. You have been in this business, Terry. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 25 years?
23, going on 23.
23 years, so you would have the opportunity like today. What does it mean to you?
I'm blessed. It's an awesome opportunity, especially here at Connally. We have such a great family atmosphere here. And it's just a blessing to be a part of it.
Coach, for you to get the job and there to be continuity for a team that I know you've lost some seniors, obviously, everybody does, but you've got a lot of young players, a lot of talent. How important is that for the team to keep that continuity with someone who knows them and knows the system and they don't have to change anything?
Well, I think it's huge. We have great relationships with our kids here, with our teachers in the classroom, our administration, in the community. And those relationships are big with these kids where they don't have to start over. That's the hardest thing. And we got some young ones coming up, and they're going to be okay. But keeping these kids rolling and building off of what Coach Anderson did, that's our whole plan here.
I saw where Shane had a comment in response to the Waco Trib article that announced your hiring, and he was very complimentary, said he was thrilled for you, and not sure if you had seen it or not, but being with him the last 5 years, what have you learned from him, and what's it like to know that he's as proud of you as he is?
Well, one of the things, I mean, and I've been in this, like I said, my 23rd year, but Shane, he always reiterated loving on the kids and taking care of the kids. And we do that here at Connally. We take care of our young men and our young women. And if you don't, then you don't have that family atmosphere. And that's what we want around here.
Shane told me in a text earlier today, he thinks you're his hardest working coach he's ever known. What does that mean to you?
That means a ton. And that's kind of how I grew up in the profession. When I first started, coach for a guy named Brian Irwin in Hillsboro, Texas. And Brian's a heck of a ball coach. And everybody on our staff, that's what we did. We learned to work. And that's the only way I know how to do it.
Terry, I think it's fair to say that now that it's official, that, when Shane left and went to Midway, I know what he wanted, and you know what he wanted, but it wasn't quite that simple. I mean, you had to kind of go through the process, which is also protocol and what Wesley Holt wanted to do, but there was a chance that somebody else could have come in and gotten that job. And you already have some disruption because of the fact Shane's where he is. How much does it mean to you that he believes in you, Superintendent Holt, and it worked out for you?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Wesley Holt, there's probably not a better stand-up guy around. He's a heck of a man. And he believes in us. He believes in what we got going on here. And I still have 13 coaches on staff and me that stays. And so that's what Coach Mr. Holt wanted. That's what he wanted, is to have continuity and keep these relationships that we have with these kids. And so I'm extremely blessed, and I'm so happy Mr. Holt picked me. And he was upfront and honest with me through this whole process. And you couldn't ask for a better man to work for.
What's the reaction been from your players, the community, text messages, phone calls at the field house?
Well, just to give you an example, I was interviewing a coach yesterday, and within about a 3 to 4 minute period, I had almost 30 text messages and 15 phone calls, and probably about 10 voicemails within about a 4 minute period. So I've heard from ex-players, ex-coaches all around the state that I used to coach or coach with, and it has been extremely. I mean, they are just blowing me up and telling me congratulations and you deserve this, and hope you do a great job. So it's been really cool, is all I can say.
So for it being your first head coaching job, obviously that was something that you dreamed of along the way, but just the long road that you've taken, does it feel like maybe you wanted it earlier, but now you're getting it, and the timing and the place and all of that is just, it's all right for you?
I think it's going to work out great. And I think the timing of this deal and where I'm at Connally is a place that I can make home. And I don't want to be anywhere else. I mean, I like it here. And like I said, this is a huge family atmosphere here over at Connally. And everybody takes care of each other. So it's just a great opportunity.
I talked to Wesley earlier today. He's thrilled for you. He was supposed to try to see if he could jump in and also hear the interview. If he's not, I told him I would send a link as well. Terry, when you did get the call, when you actually did get the call, or maybe it was a meeting face-to-face with Superintendent Holt, what did you say?
I just told him thank you. And I'm going to work my rear off to get this done and to keep this thing rolling and to keep these kids our first priority.
All right, so I got a question because you have a lot of different players that can make plays for you. Can you find a way the UIL would approve that you could have 3 different footballs on one specific snap with all the and maybe Trey Wisner has maybe 2 of those? I'm just asking.
That would be nice if they let us get away with it. We would sure try it.
Oh,
that
my
would be
God.
awesome.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
What was it like last year with Trey in particular? Curious to know this from your perspective as the offensive coordinator. He, in that China Spring game, grew up a lot. In that sometimes when you guys played the better teams, they would focus on him, and it kind of looked like he got in his head a little bit and couldn't figure out that he was Superman. In China Spring, he figured out he was Superman. What was that like to watch?
It was exciting. Trey's just one of those young men that when he touches the football, everybody holds their breath. Mm-hmm. And he's a fun one to watch. And he did. He grew up in that game. And we came out that second half. That first half, we were kind of flat. We weren't getting it done. And we made a decision. That boy's got to touch the ball. And we got some other ones that can touch the ball too. But Trey grew up in that game, and it was awesome to see that happen. You know what I thought was, and I don't want to go back to just specifically that game as well, but a recovered fumble may have been the spark for him. Did you remember that play, Terry? I remember that 100%. That might have launched him for the rest of that game, that gave, and that kind of teaches him a little bit about both sides of the football and also that he can win a game without just his legs. Exactly. He's not a selfish player at all, and he can play both sides of the ball, and he wants to play both sides of the ball. And so that's one of the things that you love about Trey. He don't ask for the ball. He's not afraid to play defense. He loves it. And so when you have kids like that want to play both sides of the ball, and they're a great teammate, they encourage their other teammates. I mean, you got to have kids like that on your team every year to be successful. Terry, congratulations. We're thrilled for you. Can't wait to broadcast your games coming up, the 2021 season. We'll be in touch with you about that. Wesley Holt, obviously, I talked to him about that. Good luck. Thank you very much. Glad the transition is basically seamless. And Shane Anderson gave you a recommendation. I know that means a lot to you as well. So have a great day. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. That's Terry Gerik, the promoted offensive coordinator. He's thrilled to death, huh? James Akinjo thrilled to death. Terry Gerik got his opportunity. 23 years in the coaching business and gets his first head coaching job. He's been at Mejia. He's been at a couple other places. Hillsborough, I think West, and Terry Gerik now, the head coach at Connally, the Cadets.
Yeah, well, he could walk into a worse situation than having Trey Wisner on the roster. Mm-hmm. I mean, him alone, and there's others too. It's not just the Trey Wisner show, but last year it was a lot of the Kavion Gaither show as well. He's obviously at Sam Houston now. But Connally's going to have talent, and I think it'll be really fun to watch Midway this year with Shane taking over. I think he'll kind of reset the attitude, and they'll come in with kind of a different focus heading into what they know is going to be a meat grinder of a schedule. And Connally gets to have some consistency and kind of just not stay where they are, but just get a fresh approach on what's been working for them. So excited for both programs, excited for both coaches, and look forward to watching it. Yeah, and it's interesting the way that coaching hires go. Connally, based on what they had, they needed consistency. That's the best choice for them. So if you have somebody on staff like Terry Gerik who can take over and become a head coach and keep that consistency, then that's what you have to do. Midway, they had a much more open situation in that, like, okay, Jeff Hume's gone. He's a guy who took us to a state championship game. We certainly want to get back there, but the circumstances have changed in the district, and things have changed here a little bit. So who can come in here and give us kind of a different perspective as you move forward? And that's what Shane Anderson can do. Yeah. But he has a connection to Midway because he was there twice with Coach Bechtel and also with Terry Gamble. All right. It's 4:42. The other news of the day that we mentioned, Todd Harbour retiring as the track and field coach, with Baylor. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And I didn't see that coming. I know that we had Clyde Hart on about a week ago or so about the Olympics, about Trayvon Bromell, about Will London III. And depending on what's going on with a meeting or two, we might try to sneak him in, not just sneak him in but get him on if we can before now and the time the show ends. We'll have Jon Machota talking Cowboys here momentarily. Let's see here. By the way, on Giannis, he's a game. I mean, it looks like it's going to probably be a game time decision on game 5 and whether he plays. But I did mention earlier that he is without any structural damage or ligament damage. Just a really bad fall. So while good news that he is not, suffering from a torn ligament or anything along those lines that would end his season and probably some of next season, he still is hurt. So it'll be touch and go on whether or not he plays next game.
Earlier today, Colt Barber put up the thread. It's in the premium section for now. The interview with Don Truhl and Lawrence Elkins. We have given you sneak peeks 2 or 3 times. 3 times. The entire 1 hour and 23 minutes of those 2 Baylor icons, football legends, college football Hall of Famers, just great people. That is up in the premium section of SicEm365 Radio. At some point, Armstrong will release it on YouTube. The full interview that we did last Thursday here inside the SicEm365 studio.
Are you planning on playing that like fully on a show?
Yeah, on a show. We'll do it one time. It won't be, July 5th, it'll be an off day, a vacation day for all of us, but we'll put that together for one show, especially we're hitting the summertime. It could be, I don't care if it's the middle of football season, we'll blow out an hour and a half or longer because of commercial breaks and play that. The legends with Don Truhl and Lawrence Elkins. For those of you who are not a part of the premium section, that won't be like 3 months from now. It'll be over, in the next few days. But you can go to the premium section. That's one of the things that's up. And it's, this idea was, I know Colt is the one that put up the graphic. Colt or Jack did the graphic. Who did the graphic? Colt did. It's fantastic. And obviously Ashley and Brian. But Brian's the one that said, hey, we need to would you be interested? Not we need, but would you be interested? We had Grant Taft, and then we've had Lawrence Elkins and Don Truhl and many more that will line up and do throughout the next several weeks. And if not months, I guess we could say, is better. And Armstrong was here from start to finish and was fantastic. It just looks so good, and not because I'm in it, but because of the way it is set up. With all the technology we have in this studio, which continues to boggle my mind. It does. It boggles my mind.
Did you know there's somebody out there that thinks Armstrong went to Connally? Did you see that tweet? It was like the fake Armstrong Sims account.
Well, there's a lot of fake. I mean, Armstrong's he's.
And what's weird is I responded to it last night, and my tweet's nowhere to be seen. What's weird because I responded, I was like, no, he's an HP guy, like for life. I was being like kind of a funny smartass, and I was like, no, he's HP for life. But yeah, I guess somebody was under the impression you went to Connally or something. But no, you're.
I know that Brian Etheridge went to Connally.
Maybe they're confused on that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. But all right, so that's that. We'll come back with a couple more notes here in this 4 o'clock hour. Jon Machota, Cowboys from theathletic.com at 5. Our YouTube segments on the Cowboys, Hayden Bumpus, plus the fact we have great analysts on this show has been unbelievable. What they popped on the segments with YouTube. We appreciate that as well. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLOT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How? You got to contact him. Let's say there's, as you've gotten older, I'm going to say it could be in your 30s. It could be late 30s, early 40s. And, Father Time starts to win a lot of stuff. And inside your body, your testosterone level, 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone. Testosterone that can help you have energy, can help you have your sex drive the way you want it, can help you with focus and even sleeping. And when it's low or it's lower than it should be, some of those things can start to struggle. So why not ask, right? If any of that's happened to you, it could just be a bad day. But as you get older, 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues, low testosterone. Go to PettyClinicLOT.com, PettyClinicLOT.com, or there's an email address as well in which you can contact them and tell them I sent you. Smokey sent you. They'll get your blood work, lab work, get your results. Dr. Petty will see what your testosterone levels are, and if it is too low, he could put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels so you can be that high-performance man you want to be at PettyClinicLOT.com.
It's the 4th of July sales event going on at Allen Samuels on the new 2021 1500 Ram Lone Star Quad Cab trucks. The 3-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve with total values up to $5,250 or 0% for 72 months plus $1,000. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Quad Cab during the 4th of July sales event. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at allensamuelsdcj.com.
Come by. Let's be friends.
The
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nicki Group Insurance Agency. With the Nicki Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nicki Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nicki Group at 1-800-258-8302.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingram at the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Do it today by searching SicEm365 on YouTube.
All right, we'll hear from Jon Machota, theathletic.com, here momentarily. Tomorrow. By the way, still nothing yet on the day, but we'll have Mac Rhodes, it appears, at some point this week, even if it might be as late as tomorrow or on Friday.
By the way, guys, we've been talking about the sticky stuff in Major League Baseball for a little while. I don't know if you've noticed the last couple weeks what's been going on with certain hitters. I'll just give you Joey Gallo last night. Joey Gallo hit 2 home runs and is starting to look like Joey Gallo again. And you know why? Because on balls with spin rates over 2,300 RPMs, he bats about 174. Under 23 RPMs, he hits about 310. So guess what?
Oh, yeah.
All right, and then that's a minor one. What is going on with Ohtani right now, and Kyle Schwarber has hit 16 home runs in his last 18 games. Gee, what's happened in those last 2 weeks?
I'm glad you mentioned Schwarber, because that is the most home runs in a 75-game stretch, I believe, in like forever.
Yeah, and it's not
since Bonds and Sosa and those guys. Yeah,
and it's not coincidental. I mean, I don't see how that is. And then meanwhile, you have other guys whose now spin rates are going down, like for actual pitchers and whatnot. But Joey Gallo's a real mystery, man. He's hot right now. There's no denying he's a good outfielder, or he's a good defender. I mean, he's a plus defender. He's a Gold Glove type where he is. He's also an all-star caliber hitter. And so, with this tear that he's been on, I've been seeing a lot of Rangers fans, discussing what his future holds and what to do with him. And, I mean, I don't think he's a bad baseball player. I just think that he's a good baseball player who is not necessarily the building block to where you want to eventually go, and that he might be the route to the building blocks that you need to go to where you want to go. It's not a matter of, like, Joey Gallo's not good enough to play. I mean, obviously anybody's good enough to play for the Rangers, but it's just – is he just spinning his wheels being in Texas, and are they doing the same? Because he can hit the home runs and he can throw guys out, but they're still losing game after game. I know they're in a little win streak right now. They got a little winning going on right now, but, I mean, it's going to be back to the same in a month.
Does this surge allow them to maybe actually get something in return?
That's what I'm saying. As we're approaching the All-Star break, I mean, is he going to be any hotter than, he might be right now? And, I mean, if you don't do something with him, if you have the opportunity to do so, I don't know really what direction you're going, because by the time, if this is going to be a slower build. So by the time you actually get around to having the people around him to be worthwhile, he's going to be on the tail end of his career practically.
Yeah. What are Kyle Gibson and Joey Gallo doing for you right now?
Nothing. I mean, they're providing a little spark in the midst of a lot of not spark.
I agree, but do not give them away either.
No.
Don't just say, okay, we'll take this backup shortstop. No, you got to get some people. You're not going to get the Teixeira trade, but you've got to get something in return. If you have to keep him back you have to bring him back for another year, hell, okay.
But if I'm somebody like the Indians that needs a little bit of an offensive boost, or and you have control for the next 2 years of Joey Gallo, which makes him maybe a little more interesting than a guy like Starling Marte, who's a better player, but he's an impending free agent and he's older. So you can have Joey Gallo for another couple of years. Look the Mets, to put some distance there, he'd do well there. I mean, I
can't imagine a contender wouldn't see Joey Gallo available and go, shoot, Gold Glove and power hitter. Like, yeah, we could use that guy to put us over the top.
But with the Mets, do they have the DH?
No, but he's an excellent right
outfielder.
fielder.
No, I know, but you'd also want him on occasion to do that. But I see what you're saying. And you're
he
right,
can play
Craig.
the outfield, yeah.
So Schwarber, 16 home runs in the last 75, not games, 75 plate appearances, is a major league record that breaks Barry Bonds in 2001, Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire in 1998 and 99 when they had 15.
Impending drug test for Kyle Schwarber coming up. I mean, that list has got a glow coming off of it past his name.
So someone put up that list and they said, okay, so you tell me he's not going to be a Hall of Famer because those guys will maybe never
I'll tell you, with
it.
Kyle Schwarber, if I was doing steroids, I would want my body to look better than his does. I'm just saying.
Very true.
Hey, one other note, and this is do you want to use? I'll give this for you tomorrow. So this is for Off the Radar. It's a great story. It's an incredible story. I'll get. Paul, I know he was a hero.
Go ahead. I mean, I think I'll probably have enough stuff. If you want to, if not, that's fine.
Lindsay Flack competed in the U.S. Olympic track and field trials, and she was pregnant, 18 weeks pregnant. She did not earn a spot on the Tokyo team. But what was amazing is I saw this picture on the television screen, and I looked at her, and I have to admit, the first thing I thought was, damn, she looks kind of out of shape. She's 18 weeks pregnant, and she competed in the U.S. Olympic trials. Last name is spelled F-L-A-C-H. USA Today has a great story on her. Christian Ortega has a story about her. She was 18 weeks pregnant, and she competed in the U.S. Olympic trials.
Yeah, let's get into this.
Bill Cosby, Paul, this is your hero. And I got to tell you, when I was growing up, he was. When I was growing up, he was one of my favorite people of all time. He was in that where I think of Denzel Washington now. He was kind of that person for me. Bill Cosby was. So we know what happened. He was accused and convicted of many sexual... and confessed. Today, I saw this story and I thought, man, is this true? I thought it was like one of those spam stories. He is being released from a Pennsylvania state prison after the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania issued an opinion to vacate his conviction.
Yeah, he kind of got off on a technicality here in that a previous prosecutor said that he was not going to get charged, and then a new prosecutor came in and said, what do you mean you're not going to get charged? He's confessing to rape. Like, why would you not charge him for that? And because of the legal ramifications long term of that, the Supreme Court overturned it from what I can gather. And it's unfortunate because Bill Cosby is a sexual predator who should be locked up. And
he is. It's not even rumored. He is.
He's a sexual predator who should be locked up. It is the most heartbroken I've ever been about a celebrity, a famous person that I liked, because I did think, and notwithstanding, I think he's the greatest stand-up comic who's ever lived, talent-wise. But at the end of the day, turns out he's a horrible person who does horrible things and should be behind bars. This is very unfortunate. This is very unfortunate.
Is this because of technicalities, or is this because Bill Cosby has a ton of money?
Well, I'm
sure they helped.
If it was me, they wouldn't have been fighting to try to find ways to overturn this. I would just go and rot away for forever. All of us in this room would. But, if you've got millions of dollars in a 30-year Hollywood history, then, you're probably going to. But no, it was actually a technicality. It was, not properly taking some of the things that he said under the right rights, things like that, and, getting incriminating statements but not doing it the way that it's supposed to be done, that kind of stuff. And, that's sloppy work on the part of the people that their job is to put him away for the crimes that he committed.
And part of the reason it happened is there's a 12-year statute of limitations on things in the state of Pennsylvania, and a lot of these were about to run out. So this prosecutor did whatever he could to get it under the statute of limitations, and unfortunately now, and Bill Cosby's a very old man, and you wouldn't think this is going to happen again. But and apparently he's blind now. So
it's unfortunate because he was rightfully in there, and I see a lot of people celebrating it. I see people celebrating it just simply because he's a black celebrity, which I think is a silly reason to, but you know how divided social media is. I see people celebrating just because they watched him on the Cosby Show. I see people celebrating because they don't think he really did it, even though in his very own words, he's admitted to it. So I would just say to anybody, however you feel, don't slam dunk it in the face of people. You know what I mean? Because there are actually some women that were hurt by this man, and dunking the basketball or spiking the football as if this was some big touchdown, that he's now being released, I think it really speaks very lowly of the people that celebrate that.
I agree. Jon Machota of theathletic.com. He covers the Cowboys. Cowboys training camp is less than a month away, and that month starts tomorrow, by the way. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Payments for qualified buyer with $4,000 down to 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back during the summer savings event at Richard Carr. Explore America in the space and safety of an SUV or truck from Richard Carr. Savings like a 2016 Buick Encore for $148 a month, a 2017 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, or a 2016 GMC Acadia for only $228 a month. At Richard Carr, 100% credit approval is always the goal. Log on or get here now and save at the summer savings event at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Jon Machota of The Athletic.
Just a sneak for Prescott, and he's in. Touchdown.
Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments, with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, 505, SicEm365 Radio. If you missed the first part of the show, Nicki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, was in studio. James Akinjo, his waiver from Arizona to transfer to Baylor, was cleared. And Waco Connally coach Terry Gerik has been a part of the show as well today. All of those things are up on YouTube and various parts of media outlets that we have, and on the site as well. And Jon Machota, theathletic.com, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. John, who's better? Cowboys offense or Washington's defense?
If it's the same guys that are on the field as last year, I'm going to go with Washington's defense. But if the Cowboys offense is healthy, I go Cowboys offense. Because if you have that offensive line back and Dak Prescott back, I certainly think that they're one of the best offenses in the league. Not that Washington couldn't be one of the best defenses, but I think that the Cowboys offense, with Dak back and all those offensive linemen healthy, I don't see them really having a weakness on offense. Whereas with Washington, they're pretty loaded on the front seven, but I don't know that on the back end you necessarily would say that that they're anywhere near as elite as that front seven is. And so when I think of Washington, I think of that pass rush and just how much. I think they have the best pass rush group up front in the NFL, and that's going to obviously cause problems. But I think that they were magnified and made to look a lot worse against the Cowboys last year, because in those 2 games against Washington, you didn't have Tyron Smith, you didn't have Lyle Collins, and then you didn't have Zach Martin for most of either of them too. So I would probably lean Cowboys if everybody's healthy.
Then one of the other questions would be then who's better, Dallas's defense or Washington's offense? I'm going to go hide under a rock. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's got to be. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Washington's offense, even though I'm not the biggest of Ryan Fitzpatrick fans. I don't know that he's the guy that necessarily gets you, 12 wins and gets you on a playoff run. But hey, maybe it happens. I just feel like we got a pretty big sample size for what he is in the NFL, and I think it's as a solid kind of backup, can start a handful of games for you. I don't know that he's your franchise quarterback for a playoff contender, but we'll find that out pretty soon. But I'd probably lean towards them just because there's just so many question marks still on that Cowboys defense, and you're bringing in a new defensive coordinator, and while I think that he'll have more success than the last defensive coordinator, you're still bringing in a new defensive coordinator to a team that really doesn't have a defensive identity right now. So there's still a long ways they have to go on defense, and I think it's going to take some time even into the season. I don't think they get into week one and you're like, man, this defense looks a lot better than last year. I think it's going to have to go a few weeks in, maybe a couple months into the season before they start looking like they have a really solid identity and you look like a defense at least was back to what it was before. I mean, under Jason Garrett, the defense was never the bright spot, but they were like middle of the pack. They were okay. Their biggest downfall, they just didn't take the ball away. And so this defense was able to take the ball away, but it was pretty bad in just about every other area. So if they can keep taking the ball away and then kind of get some of the other stuff ironed out, then maybe they can get back to the middle of the pack. But as of right now, yeah, I'd go Washington's offense.
John, you guys did the fan survey last week, which I'm always interested to see. What shocked you the most about Cowboys fan answers, or were they pretty much where you thought they'd be?
Yeah, I don't think anything really shocked me in it. I'd say that the one that just stood out to me is just, and the one I think that most people that fill it out are most interested in is just the most overrated, most underrated player. And I just found it interesting that, for overrated, it wasn't a surprise that, Jalen Smith, he was the one that got the most votes last year. He got the most votes again this year, and he was number one. Number two was Ezekiel Elliott. Those don't surprise me because those guys are paid really well and they haven't played up to the amount of money that they're getting paid. And then for the underrated, it didn't really surprise me that Michael Gallup and Tony Pollard were the top two because they're the two guys that everyone feels pretty comfortable about their talent. They're not very highly paid at all. And you feel like, hey, if you had to give this guy more touches, either one of them could make even more of their opportunity. So that didn't surprise me or anything like that. But it was who was number 3 and 4 on both those lists. And it was the same two guys on both underrated and overrated. It was DeMarcus Lawrence was third, and then Dak Prescott was fourth. So it just was interesting to see the way that the fan base is kind of torn on the perception of DeMarcus Lawrence and Dak Prescott. And I think it's interesting, too, because to me, I look at those two guys. I think those two guys are the two most valuable players on the Cowboys. And I just say that just because DeMarcus Lawrence, to me, is clearly the most valuable player on the defense, and Dak is the same on offense. And I think if you lose either one of those guys, there's a significant drop-off to the next guy that would have to fill in. And now you can certainly mix in Tyron Smith in that category and, Zach Martin and Lyle Collins and all that. But I just found it interesting that both of those guys made it into the third and fourth spots on both the most underrated and both the most overrated lists.
John, where does the competition for the future at wide receiver? I mean, CeeDee Lamb's not going anywhere anytime soon. We know that. But, I mean, there are things that could shuffle in the future with, obviously, Michael Gallup's contract coming up and then Amari Cooper. How much of your focus storylines-wise is on that battle at wide receiver? Not that it's a battle for playing time, but just a battle for, I guess, guys to show out and, want to stay in Dallas like Michael Gallup does.
Yeah, I think it will kind of iron itself out. I mean, I think it's a good problem to have for them because, we saw it last year with the rest of the offense. Wide receiver is their deepest position, and it happened to be the one that ended up staying the healthiest. I mean, to think that you're going to get through all 16 games with all three of those guys healthy, you'd love to see that if you're the Cowboys, but you can't guarantee that that's going to happen. So I think, everything kind of works itself out. And let's say, we'll just use last year as an example and say there's a complete repeat of that. Amari Cooper's the number 1 receiver on the team. CeeDee Lamb's number 2. Michael Gallup's number 3. I just think there's a good chance Gallup goes somewhere else because I still think he's going to get better money elsewhere. The way I could see him coming back is if Amari Cooper takes a major step back and he looks like let's say he finishes third in receiving and he deals with a bunch of injuries and the Cowboys try to find a way out of that contract. And then they're like, hey, well, this will do. We'll get out of the Cooper contract and we'll pay Michael Gallup. Now, I still don't think that the Cowboys will be the highest bidder on Michael Gallup in that scenario. They'll still be looking for something a little bit team-friendly. But basically what I'm getting at is I just don't see a scenario next year where the Cowboys go into week 1 and all three of these guys are still on the team. I don't understand how that they could even pay them with also the fact that not only do you already have a lot of money invested in your offense, you want to keep CeeDee Lamb. Like, they're not going to do anything that jeopardizes keeping CeeDee Lamb in a Cowboys jersey for the long term. I think that they feel he has the highest upside, and I would agree. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a monster year as long as he stays healthy. So I think everything starts with him, and then it works down after that. Because hey, you'd love to keep all those guys because they have a nice trio. But let's be honest, if you're going into the draft I mean, I'm sure there maybe you can find another position, but wide receiver is right up there, in my opinion, as the easiest position to fill. You can find a guy to be your number 3 wide receiver, just like you found Michael Gallup in the 3rd round. Now, he might not be as good as Michael Gallup, probably won't, but that 2nd and 3rd round, you can find starting caliber, really good wide receivers, and there's teams that do it all the time. And so when you're a team like the Cowboys that's put in the money that they have, and the guys like Dak Prescott and Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins and Zach Martin and Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, like, hey, you can't pay everybody. You're going to have to address it in the draft, and maybe that's what they end up doing next year if they lose Gallup.
I had a baseball coach one time, an old baseball coach, tell me that back in the day, this is like 20, 25 years ago, you could shake a tree and a third baseman would fall out of it. Most of the time, somebody who could probably pick it pretty good, play defense with a little power. I think sometimes that third wide receiver can be the same thing, that you can shake a tree and find a third wide receiver. I'm not saying you're going to find Michael Gallup, but you could find wide receivers. They don't have to be all 3 first-round picks or all 3 elite.
No, I agree. And I don't. The thing that makes it interesting with CeeDee Lamb is that he can, and Amari Cooper too, you really feel confident using him in all 3 positions, whether it be on either outside spot or in the slot. And so with that, your third wide receiver can be all over the map. It can be a big guy. It could be a guy that, goes down the field, catches jump balls, and is just a menace in the red zone, almost like a Des Bryant. Or you can add a Cole Beasley type wide receiver to that mix, and then put CeeDee Lamb back on the outside. So you got a lot of opportunities there. They also they draft the kid out of Stanford, Semi Fahoku. They probably want to see what they have in him a little bit, but no, wide receiver is a position, especially with the way that wide receivers are being used in the college game now, and now it's trickling up to the NFL. There's just so many wide receivers that are out there. I just don't think you have to keep spending significantly. And you've already spent significantly in Amari Cooper, and you spent significantly draft-wise in CeeDee Lamb, and you're going to have to pay him eventually. Like, I don't think that you need to have a team with 3 high-paid wide receivers. You should be able to find 3rd, 4th, 5th wide receivers middle, later rounds of the draft.
Well, and also, how much does Blake Jarwin's return factor into the need for a 3rd wide receiver? If Jarwin can be what they thought he was going to be before he tore his ACL in the first game last year, then your need for a Michael Gallup and re-signing him, that kind of becomes a luxury, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, no question, because I've already thought of the idea of this season, if one of those receivers was to get hurt, instead of maybe going to the next guy up on the depth chart at wide receiver, what you might see is them go more 2 tight ends and go 2 wide receivers, 2 tight end sets, and bringing in Jarwin with Schultz because of how well Schultz played stepping up in Jarwin's absence last year, because Jarwin didn't even get to show. I mean, that was supposed to be his breakout season because, Witten's gone, and this is clearly his job, and he's a perfect fit for this receiver combo that's around him. He's going to really get to, spread his wings, and then boom, goes down in the first half of the first game of the season. But no, Jarwin's a big pass-catching threat. So if they were to need extra receiver help, I think that what it goes to is that you're going to start seeing more 2 tight end sets. And then the other part of it is that you could also see more opportunities for Tony Pollard to play some wide receiver and get him on the field too. So no, it's the positions they were really deep at last year. They just didn't have injuries really in those positions other than Jarwin, so you didn't have to really get to that. But they can absorb some of these. There's going to be things during the season where their guys are going to be out for whatever reason. They got enough options there that, Kellen Moore he must love the situation he's in. As long as the offensive line stays healthy, there's plenty of weapons to make noise.
All right, so Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. Of preference of who must stay healthy, priority. I would think Lyle Collins would be 3rd, but maybe you'll surprise me. Who has to stay healthy for them to have a chance? 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, 1 is definitely Tyron Smith to me. Ty Nsekhe can help out and fill in for a game or 2 or 3, maybe 4 if need be as your veteran swing tackle. But you need Tyron Smith out there for at least 14, 15 games. It seems to be asking for a lot to get 17, even though he said that the neck surgery he had in the offseason or last year that, it corrected a lot of things. And so, obviously everyone's excited about that over at the Star, but he's the one. There's no doubt about it. Tyron Smith has to be healthy on that left end spot or on that left tackle spot, because here's the thing, like, not only do you need him against Washington because that's your biggest competition in the NFC East. You need them later in the year because both those games come up, and I think 25 days apart from each other against Washington later in the year. And so he needs to be healthy in those games more than anything, just with their pass rushers they have. So Tyron Smith's clearly number one to me. Zach Martin is clearly number two. Their interior is just night and day without him. And then Lyle would be three. And I mean, they really need all three of them, to be honest with you. But that would go in that order. And I don't think you get much debate from anybody that's inside the building. How much
Do you think people maybe are sleeping on the Giants a little bit? Because it looks to me like they've gotten a little bit better. I mean, I know nobody trusts Daniel Jones yet, but people saying that Washington and Dallas are 1 and 2. Are they sleeping on the Giants a little bit?
Oh yeah, no question about it. No, you're absolutely right. And one of the biggest reasons that people should keep looking at that is because just look at the way the NFC shakes out every year. It seems like every year for the last 15 years, it's won by a team that no one really thinks is going to win it. I mean, at least for the last 5 years, it seemed like that, and that's why there hasn't been any repeat champion since the mid 2000s. So, yeah, I can tell you this right now. The one thing, like as much as they've added in free agency in the draft that improved that offense, even though the offensive line still has its issues, the biggest one to me is if you just tell me that Saquon comes back healthy and he's competing for the rushing title, I think you can't tell me the Giants won't be a pretty decent team if that happens. And so that's a guy that he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So maybe that's asking too much to even project on that. But if he stays healthy, we've seen what Jason Garrett does with a good running game. He'll take the pressure off of Daniel Jones. I mean, Jason Garrett, no one's going to give him any credit for the success that Dak had because people were ready to move on. But Jason Garrett brought Dak along perfectly. For a young quarterback, you build it around the running game and you kind of let him flourish. Well, that's what he wanted to do in New York, but Saquon Barkley goes down and you got to change up what you're doing. So, yeah, if you tell me that they're going to just win games on Daniel Jones' arm, then I'm going to disagree with you on that. But if you tell me that they end up being run first, Saquon Barkley goes for like 13, 14, 1,500 yards, and Daniel Jones is kind of the secondary option behind that, then all of a sudden you could see the Giants winning 9, 10, 11 games.
All right. Anything else, Paul?
Nope.
Craig? All right. John, thank you very much. Tracking in tomorrow, that'll be this month, the Cowboys training camp. Jon Machota, theathletic.com, with us on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock on SicEm365 Radio. I'm gonna say, well, we have a break here, and then we come back, and then John McClain, right? So we have another segment?
No, John McClain was yesterday.
That's what I thought. Got moments like this that flare up, it seems like, more often than normal. So when we come back, I have to discuss the women's basketball forum on SicEm365 because Paul alerted me to a couple of things.
Absolutely not.
We had Nicki Collen on at the start of the show, and she dropped a couple of nuggets. I thought some things that were very much of interest. One, they had not really ever done any workouts during the summer, practices. It's been available for 10 years. She kind of dropped the nugget about that the final assistant coaching job is going to be higher. She knows who it is. It's a woman. It's imminent. And then I just see the way you react, some of you react to that. I understand it's a message board, just like it's Twitter and social media, but I got to come back and say a couple of things. Paul and Craig get mad all the time, and I haven't been mad in a while. This is SicEm365 Radio. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. This week I've experienced their service department a couple of different times. One, it was time. My alert came up, that whatever notification. It was time to change my oil. And then while I was there, I knew because my daughter's boyfriend told me he thought my right front tire had a little wear on it. Maybe they needed to be rotated. So I asked him to look at that as well. So yesterday I went in and got my oil changed. And while I was there, I also said, hey, please check my tires. And sure enough, I needed to get a couple of new tires. That's fine. And then have them rotated. So yesterday, the oil change. Today, new tires. And when they tell you it's going to be 45 minutes or it's going to be an hour and a half, which, of course, they have a large service department, but a lot of people that need things done. It was exactly what they told me. In fact, today it was less than the weight they told me it was going to be. Got new tires and also the oil changed. And the service department at Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat was absolutely fantastic. Angela was who I dealt with most of the time. Texted me when I left the first time and said, hey, we're doing this. Here's the clock. Well, here's what's going to happen. And then when I came back, the tires also were ordered. And went back there this morning. Everything's done. It's like a new car in a way, although it's 2017. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, 4th of July sales continue at Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nicki Group Insurance Agency. With the Nicki Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nicki Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nicki Group at 1-800-258-8302.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I'm not going to do it, Paul. You and Craig convinced me. Not going to do it.
There's a first time.
Diving into the message boards.
There's a first time for everything, Craig. We finally did it.
We have 33 minutes left in the show, though.
1 for 2,497.
Yeah, look.
That's better than 0.
Every journey starts with a single step. So.
It was always the first person who climbed Everest.
Mm-hmm.
And there might have been a few that did. They just never made it down. We don't know if they did.
Have y'all ever read anything about that recently? Like, it's not even like climbing Everest now is like not even nearly as cool as it used to be.
And it needs to apparently
it's really not.
The tourism is so bad at like the I guess Nepal or whatever has pushed it so much that they're trying to make money and trying to get people to go. There's too many people that are climbing Everest now. So Sir Edmund Hillary, who did it the first time
that we know of
with Tenzing Norgay, the first ones to go up and go back and live to tell about it, that like what they've done is now just open up this. It's become a tourist trap.
Tourist thing.
The other thing about it, and Smokey, this is going to get you.
Armstrong, while he's talking about this, will you dial up a picture of Mount Fujiyama for me, please?
So, what a big chunk of Mount Everest is frozen human waste. Because there's
people.
Like excrement, like bathroom. Because there's no porta potties.
Is that where they pour things out of airplanes?
So no. It's where like if you're hiking, there's all these hiking tours, and people got to go to the bathroom somewhere. Well, it's not like it's going to melt ever. So most of the mountain you're crawling up on now is
turds.
Well, there's that. There's the fact that it's been years and years and years, and there's also lots of dead bodies up there because of people who died in the mountain. But really what it is that now there's all these travel groups, and they get all these groups together, and they go in these big groups, and I've seen pictures now of people waiting like 2 hours. They're at like the peak's like up here, and they're waiting. Why are they waiting? Because there's 25 other people doing the same thing that are all in a line, and they just wait for hours to get their chance one after the other. So it's not like you get up there and then you climb the peak and you celebrate. It's like, no, you got to wait like you're at the grocery store to check out.
It's like that's what it is. It's like a Disney World line.
Yeah, like that's not even cool. I mean, and then you go up there, you get like your couple minutes, you take the picture that like 1,000 other people that day already have as well, and then you go back down. So it's still a cool accomplishment, like to say you climbed Everest, but it's really not cool in the way that, somebody said that 20 years ago.
Yeah, I want people to freeze before they get up there and have frostbite and like lose limbs and stuff. That to me is an accomplishment.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm climbing a mountain, I really don't want to wait in line at the top to get to the top. Like, I think that's silly.
Armstrong, I asked you to dial up Mount Fujiyama, one of the most beautiful.
Lots of trash, too, out there because there's nowhere to throw it.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah, it's great.
It's one of the greatest, most famous, volcanic mountains in the history of ever. Now, I climbed that with family back in Japan, and what they do is they drive you up to their stations. And, of course, I had my youngest brother, Philip, and then late sister, Cherie, mom and dad, and then my grandfather, my dad's father, and we started going up on this. You go to, like, station 4, 5, or 6, whatever. You don't really start at the bottom. Now, we started doing this climb, and we got near the top, and you spend the night one place, and then a typhoon was coming in. And so I think my mother and possibly sister, Cherie, and grandfather then eventually went back down the mountain, and you park and all that. So we spent the night, got to the summit, and it was really overcast, foggy, whatever, and you can kind of not see much at all. On the way down, my youngest brother, Philip, took the wrong turn.
Oh, man.
And we thought he was had fallen off a cliff, had slid down into a gulch, whatever. Eventually, he walks down, and you got to know Philip. He walks down to the other side of the mountain. Some guy finds him, and they take him to some U.S. military installation. There are no cell phones. Plus, you're up on this mountain. Somehow, my dad, we got down to the bottom. We waited, thought he was gone. Like we may have lost our brother. It was a horrible day. And he, of course, reported he was missing. Now, think about that. Missing on that mountain. And a typhoon coming in. Eventually, my brother was found. They made a call. The report had been submitted, and we found him. We thought maybe, what he did is it was foggy. He wasn't paying attention, which is shocking with Philip. And while we were going down, he may have just wandered off the wrong path.
So let me get this straight. There's you who doesn't pay attention when people talk. But there's other ones you.
Craig can describe Philip.
If you had told me a Smoak brother got lost in the mountain, I would have put even money on you.
It was not me.
Yeah.
I got blamed because I was the one that was supposed to be watching him. I mean, this is back, he was probably in elementary school, Maybe I pushed him to the wrong place. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But Philip is an incredibly sweet. He's very much, Philip and Craig are very similar in the way they think and also how they think about many things. Brilliant in a lot of ways. But yeah, he got lost. But this is, how scary would that have been? That you get lost on a mountain as a typhoon is barreling into Japan. And we found him. Damn it.
Wow.
No, I'm
sure he appreciates
that.
We've
made
he's
fun
not
of him all the
listening,
time.
But no, I mean, yeah, that'd be scary stuff.
But my grandfather was able to go up pretty good distance. I was proud of him as well. Granddad, he was incredible. Henry Elton Smoak, the junior. Here's a story, Paul. You ever played chess?
No.
You know, when I think of chess, I think of Bobby Fischer, Boris Spassky. Because there was a huge, big match back in the 70s when I lived in Japan.
I've never played chess, but if you make a movie with chess as
you're not a chess guy.
As the subject matter, I'm probably going to watch it, or a show like Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix. It's fantastic. Anybody here watch Queen's Gambit? Yeah, it's great.
No, I've heard it's really good, though.
It's great. Searching for Bobby Fischer, great movie. Joe Mantegna, Ben Kingsley.
Well, okay, I may have to watch it then.
Yeah.
Because I remember Boris Spassky, the Russian, against Bobby Fischer. It was drawn out. Fischer wins. He was the greatest. He was the champion. So a guy named Sergei Karkagin, whatever his name is, 19-year-old, had the record for the youngest grand champion. Let's see here. Abhimanyu Mishra is now the world's youngest chess grandmaster. He is from New Jersey. He's 12 years, 4 months, and 25 days old.
That always fascinates me.
He broke a 19-year record that was held by Magnus Carlsen. I got the numbers. This would have been, Craig, did I just ruin up off the radar for you?
No, you didn't.
Again, numbers mean nothing to me. But he's 12 years old, and he's a grandmaster in chess.
Cool.
I went to a...
I don't know what to say. That's cool, I guess.
I was at a leadership conference in Washington, D.C. when I was 16, and a couple of the kids on that were in D.C., and so we're in the park. And in the park in D.C., kind of like in New York, there are people that just play chess. And like a couple of these kids, like we're walking through one of the parks one day, just walks up and sits down next to these guys that play chess and just... kick their butts.
Annihilates him. Here he is right there. He's a cold-blooded killer. Look at him.
Oh, yeah.
He is. 12 years old, grandmaster, not grand champion, but grand. It's kind of like, I guess, you earn a black belt, whatever, at certain ages. Okay, that's enough.
It's going to black belt in
I've
chess.
actually watched chess online with some of the better. There's a guy, I forget his name. He goes against Magnus Carlsen quite a bit. He's an Asian guy. I can't remember his name, but I say that to maybe somebody that registers who I'm talking about, because he's got a pretty popular following on YouTube. Gosh, I wish I could think of his name, but he's a really good commentator. He'll watch. It's scary how much he remembers. He can watch a game between two other players, and then he does like reaction videos to recap the game itself, and he'll watch it and immediately remembers every single move every guy made. So like when the match ends, he's like, all right, let's take a look at what Billy did versus Brian here, and he'd be like, okay, so Billy did that, click, 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 and he's just clicking every move in his head. It's amazing. It's like amazing. I couldn't remember two moves of my own, much less the entire game played between two complete strangers, and then not only like just rifle through every move they made while doing commentary, but then also point out where they went wrong. Like it's incredible. But yeah, that's kind of big brain that I don't have. That's why I've never been able to really grasp chess.
Who's the new receiver? No, not the new receiver. It's the kid from Penn State, Micah Parsons. Was playing, I think, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper is a very good chess player.
And Parsons beat him.
Oh, that'll piss Amari off.
I believe so. And then there was maybe a secondary part of the video. You may want to look this up. Yeah. And Amari smokes him pretty good. Mm-hmm. But Amari Cooper was kind of like the kingpin inside the locker room. And I think Micah Parsons got him. I don't know. It was interesting to see that.
Yeah, Hiraku Nakamura, number one player in America. He is the guy who has a YouTube channel that if you're into chess and you're interested in the breakdown of it, Hiraku Nakamura, number one American player. And, he does a lot of Magnus Carlsen stuff. But he's a player himself, obviously. He's number one, that's why. But, yeah, it's interesting. For somebody who has no interest in chess, I've sat and watched several videos just kind of amazed by this guy's knowledge. Pretty cool.
All right, Paul, do we have time for Todd Harbour?
Yeah, of course we do.
You want to call him now or take a break?
Let's take a break so I can call him during the break.
Let's see.
Let's take a break.
Well, let me take a break and make sure he's available. He retired. We mentioned that earlier. Craig had that. We'll see if we can get him on between now and 6 and or move him to tomorrow. This is SicEm365 Radio. 4th of July weekend and Waco Custom Marketplace is rolling. 10% off all charcoal and pellet fuel. Build a 6-pack for $7.99. Select New York strip steak, choice or prime from $9.99 a pound to $13.99 a pound. Pork spare ribs, $3.20 a pound. Chicken leg quarters, 55 cents a pound. Whole chickens for $1.25 a pound. Regular summer sausage, $3.99 a pound. And even the jalapeno cheddar summer sausage, $4.50 a pound. And here's a good one as well. 2 pounds of 21 to 25 peeled and deveined shrimp for $13. Those are nice chunky shrimp. It's been deveined. It's been peeled. All you have to do, I think there might be tails. I'm not sure. Put it on the grill, bacon wrapped shrimp, whatever, or put it in something else you're going to have, maybe as a stir fry. And don't forget, you have 21 minutes to call them if you want live crawfish, 30-pound sacks of $4.25 a pound of live crawfish at Waco Custom Marketplace, but you have to order it by 6 today to have it for 4th of July weekend at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's the 4th of July sales event at Allen Samuels with the 2021 Chrysler 300 with values up to $5,250 or 0% for 84 months. Be sure and see the 2021 Dodge Charger GT with total values up to $4,250 or 0% for 72 months. Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco and online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
I did see this. I don't know if I saw an email come through or not, but I did see where Baylor, the court, remember we discussed this even, I think, the day after they won the national title against Gonzaga, that the court would be available. The school can get whatever they want from the NCAA court in Indianapolis. Women did that as well in 2005, I believe, and maybe elsewhere. I don't know. You can go online, I get BaylorBears.com and find some sort of link. And if you want to get some floor items for those of you that like to have things like that. And so that's available. I did see where maybe the link initially was not loading or whatever, but if you're interested, it is available on BaylorBears.com. Paul, you want a piece of the court?
The court?
See what it looks like. There's a couple of pictures here. That looks pretty nice. It's a little plaque framed. Got a piece of the court, Baylor Bears NCAA championship. I'm sure T-Rex bought the whole thing.
I don't know where I put it. My sports memorabilia has moved all into one area, and it's starting to get crowded.
The upsides to being in a relationship, huh?
Yeah, no. I've been told my decorating style was like I still lived in a frat house, which I never did, or I don't know what she said.
I felt that way when we were doing the show from there. I thought it did look like maybe an old country western bar up top.
That was the thing I was going for. I mean, thank you. I appreciate that.
I can't wait to meet the woman I finally decide, mutually to settle down with, and she discovers my pro wrestling stuff. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Here's what nobody tells you when you get
30 years of collecting things.
When a woman moves in with you, they never tell you that everything you have in your house is stupid and bad, and that you're going to have to move it all, which is fine. I'm not like that attached to it. It's just a shock to the system when the first wave of things you have to do is completely undo everything you spent time doing. Yeah. No one tells you, because it's like they want to scare you out of the club.
You didn't do enough background check.
I kind of had a feeling. I mean, Amanda was very, forward with me about it. Yes, I don't like any of this, but it never occurred to me that when she moved in, it would just be all gone.
Nuked?
Yeah.
Ross Dellinger, it's a late night for schools and states without a law taking effect tomorrow. Many are holding meetings tonight with coaches, athletes, staff to educate them on hastily created NIL rules. Per AD's, NIL rules will mirror state laws elsewhere or the one in the pipeline in their state.
What did I say?
There are two big issues in this disparate patchwork of NIL, schools say. The extent of the institution's involvement in the athlete NIL deals, whether to permit athletes to use or wear school logos / marks in the NIL deals, which I would think that's going to be interesting. On using marks and logos, ADs are going with one of the three options: permitting it with school approval, permitting it in certain ventures, not permitting it at all ever.
Well, if you're a Nike athlete, if you get a Nike deal and your school's a Nike school, then the school would be foolish not to let you do that, because then everybody's getting a cut. But if it's something that hasn't paid for the likeness, then you're just going to have to move on without that. If there's no licensing fee for that, then they should move on. But you see what they said. They're just going to mirror the laws in the state. They could have done that already. It's the easiest thing to do. And they didn't do it. And now they're doing it one day before these laws go. I mean, if there's anything else the NCAA can do to make you say that you shouldn't be afraid of them and that they're stupid and worthless and ridiculous, then waiting a day to do something that anybody in the world could have figured to do day one.
AD told SI Now today that the NIL rules will be silent on institutional involvement, leaving him flexibility to get involved with NIL if, in fact, a rival school gets involved. As soon as we're allowed to be involved, it's a pay-for-play, baby. People will be brokering and setting up deals.
Yep.
Be interested to see if Dar Rosenthal Adair Rosenthal ends up, one of the things that flips his switch might be which school can give him something that as of today is not available.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels kind of gross to me, like being put that way. Like hearing that AD's comments, I get it, and I'm not against this in any way, but I am, like, the thing that does bother me about this entire idea is all these greasy, greedy ADs that are going to be, pushing the envelope at every turn. Not that guys who do that anyways. Now they can just do it out in the open. So at least we'll see who the real, like, kind of crooks behind the scenes were. I'm sure that'll, be a little bit more open. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't want to, like, have too many opinions on it because we don't even really know still what it's going to look like. You know, I don't want to be like angry old man who's like, I can't believe they're paying this, or I can't believe they're doing this. And it's like, everybody got up in arms about the playoff change. And, like, once you see it for a little while, you get used to it. And we'll get used to this. In 2 years, this won't be that big of a deal. We won't even probably talk about it as though it's another thing. It'll just be all, just part of the college athletics landscape. But, yeah, I do, like any walk of life, I do worry about those that are willing to go that extra mile to get theirs. And, in college athletics, you already – hear about that a lot, but now it's just going to be full-blown wide open, and I don't know, it's just kind of gross in a way.
Before we get to Paul's 5 at 555 or top 5 at 555 or whatever Jack wants to call it today, here's just the title of this. Alabama man arrested for attacking neighbor with a shovel after the neighbor allegedly told him Busch Light tastes like water.
I see you, it tastes like water.
That's why I go to Twitter.
Yeah. Well, this is funny. The first time I got called to jury duty, I was in college, and the trial was two brothers got in a fight in the woods in an area in kind of like just outside of Tallahassee, but still in the county, which is why they were in jury duty. And the other one shot the other one in the backside, and the argument was over NASCAR.
Oh, God.
It was. They were asking like who had, like, I remember I didn't get picked for the jury, but I so wanted to.
That is.
I had like. I had finals that next week. I said, look, it's worth missing if I can just. Please find out the details of how this argument went down.
It's a couple of Florida men right there.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Shooting over NASCAR.
Yeah, it was a...
Number 5 car.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, who's the best NASCAR driver? And I remember, like, the half of the, the potential jurors in the box when they said it, like we're all just like... And the guy who got shot was still sitting in the in the room with his, like, little donut.
Just real quick, let's do a quick hit with him. We can do it now, okay? I know.
4 minutes?
Yeah, I think we can, just to get a reaction from him.
You do this to me too much.
What, ask you to get somebody on the air?
By
the way, College World Series last night, Mississippi State flipped the switch on Vanderbilt, winning, what was it, like 13-2? So that game 3 is coming up, of course, for all the marbles tonight, 6 o'clock. Both teams have records 49-18 and 49-17. Of course, they've played each other during the year as well. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was quite the comeback by Mississippi State. They made no doubt about it last night, and tonight Kumar Rocker will be on the mound, and I know Mississippi State's going to have their big dog on the mound as well, so it should be pretty good.
All right, earlier today, we got news that Todd Harbour has retired as the track coach at Baylor. He's been in meetings all day. We, of course, the show about to end, but we wanted to get a comment or two from Todd, if we could, who joins us, Todd Harbour on SicEm365 Radio. Todd, thank you very much. I know you've spent a lot of time in that role or with Baylor track or in the business. Why today?
Oh, David, it's been in the works for a while. The official announcement was today, but this has been coming for a while, and I just knew this was the right time, and I'm, been praying. A lot of prayer went into this, and my wife and I are been blessed to have been here so long in Central Texas for 40 years, and we're both from the Rio Grande Valley, both Port Isabel grads, and we feel like it's time to get back down that way. Her parents are 85, 87, and we feel this is the time, to do it. And I don't know that I'm retiring, but there may be something else that the Lord has for me. I'm not quite sure, and maybe coaching a little junior high football or who knows what. But I don't know that I can fish and play golf, every day of the week. So I'll probably have to find something to do. But as far as I've been, so fortunate to only have 2 jobs in my life other than my professional running career out at Riesel and here. And so, I'm blessed. I'm as blessed as any man out there. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity I had here at Baylor and appreciate, Mac Rhodes and the opportunity he's given me the last, since he's been here now. And it's just the right time. So I'm ready to do this. And it's always tough. It's always sad. But it's time to say goodbye.
You've coached a lot of people over the years, Olympians and, just All-American, all of that. When you look back, does it still wow you, all the things you've been able to do and see in 22 years at Baylor?
Oh, it's amazing. When you look back at it, people, have asked me what's the most special. It's hard to even just single out one moment because there's so many great ones, but just being a part of this program and, taking over for Coach Hart and just the special bond that we have and will always have. And there's just so much special about Baylor University, Baylor Athletics, and Baylor Track and Field. And to be a part of that is always something that I'm going to, cherish for the rest of my life. So I'm just thankful and I'm very humbled and just very much again, we've had a great run. So I'm hoping to turn this over to somebody really, really good here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully sooner than that. But hopefully, it'll be in great hands, I'm sure.
Every 4 years, you get to see, some of your guys go off to go do their thing at the highest level in the Olympics. And that's not any different this time around either. Casey Lightfoot will be heading to Tokyo. Trayvon Bromell will be heading to Tokyo. Will London will be heading to Tokyo. Just how cool is that to see guys living their dreams and to be on that type of a stage?
No, it's special, and all those men are great young men. And I just got back from Eugene. We were up there 3 weeks. My wife and I, we just stayed from the NCAA meet on. But to watch Will compete and Casey, and I got to give all those guys big hugs. I missed Trayvon. I saw his race. They wouldn't even let us into the facility unless we had a pass for that day with an athlete. And so but I got to see his races, obviously. And man, what a special comeback for him. And we're excited for Trayvon, and it's always neat every 4 years. Next year will be the World Championships, and we'll be, I guess, 3 more years in another Olympic game. So it's track and field gets a little bit more recognition during that time. So that's always a neat thing to see.
Todd, you had to replace a legend, and the thing is always, you don't replace the legend, you replace whoever replaced the legend. How what was that like? Because obviously Baylor had tremendous success, and I know Coach Hart, we had him on last week talking about Trayvon and Will, and you've been on the show with us before. What was that like?
Well, I can add a new chapter to that. You said you're never supposed to replace the legend. I don't think I'd heard of that one. I obviously did, but I didn't pay attention to it. But how about replacing the legend and then letting the legend stay and coach with you for 14 years?
Yeah, there you go.
So I added a new chapter. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that, but, Coach Hart's been like a dad to me as he has been to so many others, and I love him. He knows that, but it was a challenge. It wasn't always easy, and because, Coach is who he is, and we don't always see eye to eye on everything, but at the end of the day, we still loved each other every day. And so it was challenging, but yet it's what it was. And I was honored to give Coach Hart that opportunity just to coach for 14 years more and not have to deal with some of the stuff, that you have to do when you're the head coach, and you have to, deal with the stuff around the program. And Coach I was honored to be able to give him another 14 years of just coaching and getting out of some of the stuff. And so that's part of my little contribution as well. And, but again, I can't say enough thanks for Coach Hart, because I wouldn't have been here without, him and what he's meant to me.
Todd Harbour from Riesel, Texas, and now Baylor, and now moving down south, and a great career at Baylor. Todd, thank you for jumping on. I know it's been an emotional day. Appreciate your time, and God bless.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Todd Harbour, 62. Time to move to South Texas near the Valley.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. July 10th, I'll be hosting a showcase there. I'll be doing stand-up, so come on by and see me. And I'll be doing stand-up at 9 and improv at 7:30, or the other way around. Look, slapsticks.com. Just check out slapstickscomedy.com, and you'll see the shows. There's 2 shows that night, $20 a piece. I'm in both shows. So July 10th, you can come and see me and my friends do some comedy at Slapsticks Comedy Club. All right, top 5 Baylor defensive players that need to break out. Number 5, Siaki Ika. Apu Ika. Whatever you want to call him. But he needs to break out if this defense is going to be what they think it is. And all roads point to that it's going to happen with him this year.
Yeah, I mean, the hype is huge. Now he's got to go do it.
All right, number 4, Garmin Randolph. This guy's 6'7", defensive end. They need some kind of pass rush presence to continue there. Of all the guys, I kind of picked him out because of what he can do. Maybe I'm off here, but I think Garmin Randolph is somebody that they need to see be a 6'7" threat on the edge.
Well, he's got to stay healthy, which he has not done since he's arrived at Baylor. But, yeah, I mean, there was a really good group of young defensive linemen last year and the year prior, and half of them haven't lived up to billing, quite frankly. Garmin's one of them. Harrison White's another one of them. And, there's injuries and things like that. Gabe Hall is another one of them. I mean, all those young – I mean, think about it. Of all those young defensive linemen, I mean, Chidi played pretty well, which was expected because he's been around for a while. But, like, as far as those wave of guys that Rule got there at the end, White and Randolph and Hall, I mean, it's been injuries or just something else. I don't know.
Yeah, TJ Franklin.
Franklin's been good, but he also was hurt a lot last year as well. I think TJ's shown a little bit more than Randolph has. Yeah. But, yeah, TJ Franklin is another guy that you could kind of put somewhat in that category.
All right, number 3, linebacker Matt Jones. Heard a lot of good things about Matt Jones. Heard a lot of things from the Rule staff about Matt Jones and how much they liked him. And with, what's going to be, obviously, Terrell Bernard's back at linebacker. He's not a candidate to break out. Dude's broken out. I mean, he's a star. When he's healthy, he's going to be fantastic. But they're going to need, some things in depth. And I think Matt Jones, hearing what we've heard about him over the years, a guy you could hear a lot from now, especially with Abram Smith moving from linebacker to running back. This opens up more opportunities at the linebacker spot for Matt Jones.
Yeah, depth is they got a lot of people at that position.
Dylan Doyle's a big-time returning player, so you need like the third. Matt Jones is somebody who, quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing about his potential. I want to actually see it, and that's not a knock on him. It's just, there's message board guys that people love or people remember from when they were recruits, and they expect that same. Or they almost treat them like they're that same player. It's like, no, I want to see it. Like, hey, that's great what you did at Permian, but like now let's see it on the Baylor field, and Matt Jones, I think, is a prime guy. You got to do that. And
you just mentioned Dylan Doyle. I think, breakout might be a little bit strong for him because he played well last year, but I do think I want to see Dylan Doyle here at number 2 kind of take the reins of that defense from the middle linebacker spot. I mean, Terrell Bernard is obviously the leader of the defense and is going to be the best player on that defense, but I'd like to see Dylan Doyle continue to grow into what I think could be a star for that defense.
Yeah, I don't know about breakout because last year he was pretty good, but he can be better.
Yeah. He could definitely be better. He could be better, side to side. He could be sometimes he was a little bit stiff, it felt like, or it looked like to me. And that might just be, the neck roll or so, it might be some padding or something. But, yeah, he could definitely improve. And, you'll have a line of guys who all could be considered leaders on this defense.
Yeah. And number 1, the best athlete maybe on the defense, Kalen Barnes. He's shown flashes, and he's had broken hand. But I think if he broke out to what he is truly capable of doing, the sky is the limit for this guy, especially with Dave Aranda and that defensive staff and what they have done with defensive backs in their career and putting them into the NFL.
Yeah, I would like to see him be an all-SEC caliber type of cornerback like they had at LSU for so many years. He certainly, people rave over the speed and all of that. The club certainly prevented him from at least one pick six last year, if not a couple of pick sixes. But, yeah, he's going to need to actually hold on to the football with 2 good hands now that he has them and show some of that speed. I mean, it's good when you're not really talking about a corner a lot. It's good that we don't ever talk about Raleigh Tejada half the time. That means he's doing his job. And so, there's a lot of room for that group to grow, but they got a lot of experience. They don't have a lot of depth, but they do have a lot of experience, and Barnes is near the top of that list.
He's explosive. He's kind of on defense, Squirrel Williams, or maybe Josh Fleeks. At times you've seen it flash, but you need to see it more often. Okay, thanks to Hayden, Emma, thanks to Armstrong and Jack as well. Our guests today, including James Akinjo, Nicki Collen, appreciate her in studio, Terry Gerik, Todd Harbour, and Jon Machota. For Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak, thank you. We appreciate you watching, listening, and our sponsors who allow it to happen every single day, and it continues to grow. City of Woodway, I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. They start officially with us tomorrow, as is the NIL. I'm David Smoak. Good night, SicEm365 Radio.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.